Good evening and welcome to this town hall. This edition, we are calling it Aura for Aura. Nimeambiwa si Aura for Aura, so we'll go with it thanks to my audience here in the Baraza Media Hub and Lab room here, and we are grateful to them for hosting us for this conversation. Also like to put it out here that we are grateful to our partners for putting this conversation together as well, and also giving context to it. That is a Civic Voices Initiative. We have the representatives here. They'll give us some context in terms of a survey that was done earlier in the year to inform this conversation, and you'll be shocked by some of the findings that they have. And the purpose of this conversation this evening is reflecting on the citizens' participation in politics, governance, and policy. And to ask you around the room and those who are following us on YouTube Live as well as Facebook, see how far you've come in terms of your political, governance, policy, participation from whichever background you come from. I have a rapper right behind me here, and he tells me he's into boxing as well, so I'll be careful with the words that I put out there, but I'll bring you a mic just to be on the safe side. Nitakupea mic, nitakupea fursa uongee, but he's also a paralegal. We have people from different professions here that will speak their minds as well once we get into the conversation. But it goes without saying that 2024 this year has been one that is, don't know what to call it, whether to call it peculiar or very unique in terms of how people have come to be involved in the matters of politics, governance, and policy in this country. And in the panel, we have a diverse panel here, and I really appreciate the time that they've set out for us. Thank you to Bevelin, thank you to Fanyamambo, thank you to David Ewagata, thank you to Kasmal Makaure, thank you to Amos and Daktari Mutaji. Introduce nyote individually, but let me just give some context here, and we get the conversation going, and I'd like to get you into a poll, and just to know, just from around the room here, how many. Okay, kwa wale ambao walitimiza umri, how many voted in the last election? Just by a show of hand. Wale ambao hawajainua, I guess you are too young. Okay, we'll let that one slide. How many before 2024 have participated in any form of public participation as we've heard it in the recent past? All right, okay. So this is just one or two questions that we will put on our YouTube page, and our team here will be able to show us the results and what people say even online. Tell us whether you voted in the last election and if you participated in public participation exercise before this year, 2024. Now, there's an unprecedented engagement by ordinary citizens, as I've mentioned, in politics, policy, governance. In particular, the younger generation of Kenyans has set a new standard for political engagement, and many will say they have fundamentally changed the way that the government of Kenya operates. How many are under 35 in this room? I see we are the majority. Okay. And if we take a look at the protests that we saw earlier this year, this is around June, it's plain to see that the majority of the civil action was being driven by those who've raised their hands here and are represented in the audience. And that being said, it's important to recognize that the events of 2024 are actually an anomaly. The standard operation of citizens has actually been apathy. Watu, in fact, nikiwa kwa news nilikuwa naambiwa, mnaleta politics mob sana. Simtuletee habari zingine. There's much more happening in the country. Mbona kila wakati mnaanza tu, siasa, but now you're very much involved in it. And this has led to the rise in autocracy across the region and continent. In fact, we should not forget that even the last general election, Kenya saw over 6 million voters that simply never showed up. So, to set the stage today, we would like to begin by asking you at home and in the building here, and I've asked those in the building, whether you participated in the last poll. The second question, before 2024, had you ever attended any public participation forum? And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a starter panel that's here and the audience. Now, forgive Fanyamambo for the yawns. He's done 2 so far, tukianza. Not because my voice is boring, tulikuwa naye shule, I guess that's not the case, but he's a busy man. He's probably done, this is probably the 4th interview in the day. He's very much engaged in these conversations. Thank you for coming to see us and be participant in the panel. Tuanze naye, Bevelin, unapewa makofi naye, naye Kasmuel. Tuanze nawe, introduce yourself and to the people who probably don't know you in the audience virtually, who you are and how you fit into this conversation.
My name is Kwamboka Beverlyn. My name is Kwamboka Beverlyn. I'm a teacher by profession. Most of you know me as a Chipo Mitu vendor. I still do it part-time, and I'm an activist. Thank you.
Fanya mambo?
Thank you very much. My name is Fanya Mambo Kinuthia. I'm a lawyer by training, and I'm here because I hold the highest office in this land. I always tell people the highest office in the land is the office of a citizen. A citizen can ask any question. Why is the sky blue? Why is it not black? And so on and so forth. So anybody who is seated here should know you hold the highest office in this country. You employ everybody. You fire every politician. And you have a right to ask everything, including why the tarmac is dark and not white. So we are here because we are citizens and we hold the highest office in the country, the office of a citizen.
David, Pasi?
My name is Pastor David Wagata, passionate youth worker. So in as much as I'm not under 35, I am among the under 35s most of my life. Been part of the ministry, but also very active in just picketing over different things. I was part of Wakenya Pamoja 2007, 2008, when the country experienced quite some turmoil. And a joy to be here and just speak on what really needs to be spoken about, our participation in policy, governance, and all.
Bueno, Cosmo.
Good evening. Good evening. It's good. Good evening. My name is Cosmo Makoure. I studied finance. I've worked as a teacher, as a musician, as a composer, and those kinds of things. All those beautiful things. Good evening. My name is Cosmo Makoure. I'm a financial analyst by training. I've worked as a music educator and performer. I write music, absolutely love it. And currently, I'm in the Orange Democratic Movement Youth League. That's what I'm doing for now. I'm just walking around the country asking everybody to join Chama Kubwa.
Is that public participation?
It is.
All right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
It is. It is.
Thank you. My name is Amos Matiro from the Independent Medical Legal Unit. This is a human rights organization pushing for the end in torture and discrimination in the country. I am also a proud youth of this country and a great passionate of public and youth participation. Thank you.
Daktari.
Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Sheikh Hassan Kenyomari. I'm the National Chairman, Muslim Professionals League Africa. I'm also a lecturer in religious studies, law, and also Islamic law. I'm also the Vice Chairman, Africa Faith Actors Network on Climate Justice. And I'm also a consultant on youth matters and also children protection. As far as many of the things we are talking about here are concerned, I think many of you have seen me raising the voice of religious leaders, talking the truth to the government and to anyone who goes against the word of God and the word of Kenyans, because we are the ones who put them in power. We are the ones who should ask them what they are doing, and we can fire them anytime.
Another echo to what you said, you hold the highest office, and I think that goes to everyone in this room. Just to get the understanding and lay of the land in terms of what public participation is, Kwako Beverlyn, do you see what has been put forward as public participation in the name of, I think one of the latest ones has been, one of the latest very popular ones has been in the name of impeachment. For you, public participation, does it take that form and shape? Ama stories ajaba?
From my side, public participation is stories ajaba, something that is done by the institution to tick the box. Because most of the time, whatever we say there never come to materialize. They already have their own determination and their own answers. They're just doing it for formality to let the public know. According to the Constitution, before we do this, we have to go for public participation. They just come to us to tick that box.
Daktari, yafaa kuwaje public participation?
Asante sana madamu, swali limekuja kwa Kiswahili, nitafanya kama bunge. Unajua sheria bunge ukianza Kiingereza ni Kiingereza mpaka mwisho. Ukianza Kiswahili ni Kiswahili mpaka mwisho. Ndio baadhi ya wabunge fulani tuliwachagua kwenda kule hawajai kufungua mdomo ndani ya bunge, ufungua tu nje, kwa sababu Kiswahili hawajui mpaka mwisho, Kiingereza hawajui. Na ni masikitiko sana kwa watu ambao kwamba wanachagua wabunge ambao wazungumzi kitu, hao ndio tofauti kwenda kuwapiga viboko kwanza kabla ya wabunge. Public participation inafaa kufanyika kwa namna ambayo kwamba ni wale wananchi wafaa kuletewa jambo fulani, waulizwe kuna jambo fulani tutaka kulijadili. Je, hili jambo la kujadiliwa? Ikiwa si jambo la kutaka kujadiliwa, lisijadiliwe, kwa sababu hauwezi kuletea mjadala. Na nitakupa mfano. Katika kumuondoa naibu rais Gachagua, utakuta ni public participation ilolazimishiwa kwa watu. Ilikuwa kuna public participation, ilikuwa ni watu washaamua, na kwa bahati mbaya Gachagua mwenyewe hakujielewa. Haya mambo yalipangwa kitambo kabla hata ya uchaguzi, kwa kuwa tutamleta huyu ana ujinga fulani na tutaweza kumuondoa na hakuna kitu atafanya. Sasa ilipokuwa sasa washaamua kumuondoa, walidanganya kuna public participation ambao ilikuwa ni urongo. Ikapangwa baadhi ya vijana wakalipwa ni wanasiasa, wakaenda kwenye baadhi ya county halls fulani, na walipokwenda kule walikuwa wamelipwa wao, kwa sababu hakuna Mkenya ambao kwamba lilikuwa jambo la kumuondoa Gachagua la muhusu. Wakenya tuna shida nyingi. Tuna shida wanafunzi saizi, mimi ni lecturer university, nazunguka miezi 5 na dunia mzima, hatusomeshi kwa sababu ya strike. Watu hospitali saizi wanafariki, watu wafa. Tunavyozungumza saizi watu wamejaa, mochari zimejaa, kwa sababu wanaenda kwa kitu ya urongo ya SHA, wanakuta hakuna matibabu, wanakufa. Na watu kule State House wanakunywa chai wakiangalia, hawajali wao. Kwa hivyo Wakenya, hii mambo ya Gachagua ilikuwa hata haiwahusu. Kwa hivyo walilazimishia kwa watu, wakahonga baadhi ya vijana, na kwa bahati mbaya wanaotumiwa zaidi ni hawa vijana, kwa bahati mbaya. Lakini tuwafurahi vijana wa Nairobi wamekuwa wajanja, sasa ni wa ushago. Na ndio ndugu yangu huyu amesema na ODM, nataka arudi huko azungumze nao vijana wa ushago. Awaambie acheni ujinga. Tuanze kujadili mambo yanayotuhusu sisi wa Kenya. Mambo ya SHA tulifaa tuulizwe. Mambo ya finance bill inasukumiziwa kwetu. Na ndio maana vijana tunawashukuru walisimama wakaambia rais, kwa sababu kwa hakika alikuwa anasukuma ni rais. Hatuna haja kusema urongo. Kusema urongo haifai. Alikuwa asukuma mambo ni rais. Ikaja mjadala wa miaka 7. Ilipokuja mjadala wa miaka 7, sisi saa hizi tayari Wakenya wafa. Wajua kitu ambacho kwamba tumefaa kumwambia rais ni kwa kuwa sisi watu wa dini, viongozi wa dini, tunakutana na Wakenya kila Ijumaa, Jumamosi, Jumapili bila kuwaita. Wao lazima wahongane ndio watu waje. Sisi watu wanakuja, sisi ndio wanatueleza matatizo yao. Mimi nikikueleza shida ambazo Wakenya wanakumbana nazo saa hizi, huwa hatulali. Sisi viongozi wa dini tunalia. Nikikutana na Bishop Muheria tukizungumza, rafiki yangu sana, nilikuwa na zamani nikieleza tupigane tuende hivi, wananiona mimi labda sielewi, lakini mlimo ulipoguswa walielewa, kumbe ni kubaya. Sasa hii ndio shida ya Wakenya pia. Wakenya ungoje uguswe wewe. Ukishaguswa wewe ndio anza kuzungumza. Kabla hujaguswa hauoni matatizo. Kwa hivyo tunalosema mjadala wa kuhusu mambo ya jumuiya ama public participation inafaa kitu kiletwe hata kabla ya public participation. Tuulizwe mnasemaje? Kwa sababu kuja kutuwekea miaka 7. Kumbuka rais alitaka miaka 7. Ilikuwa imepangwa tuliambiwa kitambo ni Mheshimiwa Joho. Kitambo 2020. Wajua kwa bahati mbaya hakuna jambo lafanyika Kenya leo ambalo halitukuambiwa kabla ya election. Mimi nilitembea Kenya mzima. Mimi ni mmoja nilitembea Kenya mzima. Nikiambia hawa watu urongo unaopangwa ni serikali zinazokuja, watu wakatudharau. Mtu rudi tu Google, andika Dr. Hassan Kinyo Omari, utaona mambo tumezungumza hata dhidi ya serikali. Lakini watu hawakutusikia. Yote yalikuwa shapangwa. Tuliambiwa kuna mtu atakuja na atawadanganya, na akiingia kwa rais ataendelea kudanganya. Anakudanganya kitu wazi na kwambia hii ni petroli nimeletewa nipeleke kwa gari saa hizi. Na ni maji. Unamwambia hapana, lakini hii ni maji, si petroli. Hapana, hii ni petroli. Wewe dereva, enda utie kwa gari. Naambia usitie kwa gari, weka kando. Na yani urongo unawekwa Kenya kwa mambo ambayo kwamba yako wazi. Juzi mtu ameenda pale hapa Kayole, Jacaranda Grounds. Anaambia wa Kenya, ndajenga shule primary hapa, nijenge secondary hapa, nijenge TVET hapa na stadium. Kwa mtu mwenye akili timamu, wajua mtu msimu ndo azimu, utaamini Jacaranda Ground inaizengia primary school, secondary school, TVET na stadium. Ni urongo uliko wazi. Lakini kwa bahati mbaya wa Kenya hawasemi ukweli, wananyamaza tu. Kwa hivyo public participation tunaomba iwe ni kwa mambo kwamba yanatuhusu sisi. Mambo yatuhusu tusiletewe. Kama saizi public participation wa Kenya wengi wanasema finance bill yote ilikuwa rejected. Sasa imeanza kuregeshwa in bits. Inaletwa in bits na tunanyamaza. Inaletwa ilikuwa kule tukaipinga, inaletwa sasa. Petrol levy inaletwa. Aya, GMO zinaletwa tena, ng'ombe zidungwa sindano, ziache kushuta, zisizae, tuanze kununua nyama. Kuna watu wamepanga kununua nyama, kutengeza nyama laboratory, kuziuza. Sasa ili nyama zikosekane Kenya na duniani, ni ng'ombe zidungwe sindano, zisizaane tena. Zikifa hizi ng'ombe mazikichinjwa, hakuna kuzaana. Tutaanza kununua nyama za laboratory. Hawa watu Amerika tayari washafukuzwa. Amerika ndio kwao. Bill Gates, acha tuzungumze Bill Gates kwa ufupi. Amerika hatakikani tena ni Trump. Na tunashukuru sana serikali ya Amerika kumchagua Trump. Na tunashukuru sana wa Kenya walioandika barua kumuondosha huyu balozi wa Marekani ambao kwamba ajua uchaguzi wa Kenya uliibiwa na akadanganya uchaguzi ulikuwa sawa. Ashakwenda zake. Sasa serikali inampatia Bill Gates himaya akae Kenya bila kuulizwa. Atatuua sote. Kwa hivyo lazima wa Kenya tusimame kidete, tukatae na tuseme mwamleta Bill Gates kwa nini bila kutuuliza? Mnapitisha mambo fulani kwa nini bila kutuuliza? Tunakula GMO sana. Ndio na mlipouliza ninywe chai ya maziwa ama rangi, mimi nilichagua rangi. Siku hizi sinywi chai ya maziwa. Unless ni ng'ombe naiona ile pale imekamuliwa niletwe maziwa. Otherwise maziwa GMO mimi sinywi. Public participation ni muhimu kwa mambo yanayotuhusu sisi, si yale yatuhusu.
Fanya mambo. In terms of source and legally speaking, the public participation that leads to results, does it have to come from government side to the people that we are coming to the community to engage you, or can it take a different form where it's from our initiative? Because you've just said we're the highest office holders, most powerful.
Thank you very much. You see, Article 10 of our Constitution puts public participation as a pillar of governance in this country. So therefore, everything you do has to rotate around that pillar. It supports governance. Then it goes to Article, I think, 183, where it speaks of now how parliamentary sessions are supposed to be aired and how people are supposed to see what is happening. What we've had in this country is not public participation. It is a rubber stamp affair where we look for people to rubber stamp what those who are up there would have liked to do, but there's this obstacle for them called public participation. I think for a long time we've let them set the agenda. And now it has to be us setting the agenda. It has to be us going to those halls and removing all those young people when wamepewa 500 and whipping them out and telling them, you're not going to participate in this thing. So that the kind of public participation we are going to participate in moving forward is on those things that we, wananchi, have decided are the ones that we want to be participated on. I was telling people yesterday, I saw nonsense of the highest order. That mtu anakuja kanisani unatangaza sadaka. And I know that we are going to occupy that church. Because we cannot have a situation where the Bible says that when you give with your left hand, your right hand is not supposed to know. And then a whole professor of law stands in church and says, nimekuja kutoa sadaka ya rais 5 million, na sadaka yangu 2 million. From now on, let them be put on notice that any person who announces how much money they've donated in church, we shall occupy that church. If you have to go to a church as a politician, because what they've trying to do now, they are trying to buy back wananchi vile walitununua 2022. Wanakuja mpaka wanaleta school bus alafu inakujiwa. Let me put them on notice that nonsense will not happen in this country again. Whoever you are, wherever you are, anytime you go to a church and make a donation, don't mention it. And you as a pastor, if you dare mention it the following Sunday, because you want people to clap for whoever brought that donation, we come for you and we come for that money. It has to get to a point where money will not buy a single vote in 2027. Na hakuna election ya 2029, they are not getting that extra 2 years. So we agree here as Kenyans, and we make it very clear that that was the last time an announcement was made in church about how much money has been contributed. We will allow them to contribute, but we shall never allow an announcement to happen. Because when you deny them the ability to announce, then you've taken away from them the power to buy the vote. And if the pastor dares try to come the following Sunday kusema ile pesa ilichangwa, hata kuwa amemaliza kupronounce how much was announced. If we all take that direction as a country, if we all put that as the notice that we are giving them, then ile mpango walikuwa nao ya kuiba pesa yetu alafu watununue nayo is going to collapse. So I'm urging every Kenyan, wherever you are, na kuomba in the name of God, let us not allow an amount to be mentioned in the next church again of how much has been contributed. Wewe peana na usiongee. Ukiongea tunakuja kwa hiyo kanisa. Tunaambia pastor hapana, rudisha kwenye ilitoka. So that we don't get to a point where in 2027 our people will be bought for money.
That aspect of where it comes from, for it to be qualified as public participation, must it come from the government because it comes with their agenda, or can it originate from the people? Kama sasa hivi umesema tutakubali mtu yote mwingine akuja atangaze.
As I have said, when it comes from the public, that is what the public want. And they have made it very clear many times. So you bring your agenda to town halls, that's your problem. But you will come there and we will tell you what is important to us. In fact, use your resources to mobilize people in a hall. And when you come, we shall tell you our problem is chief and sha. I saw people are removing the F at the end of chief and they are putting a T. And then they are clapping their hands about it because now it reads exactly what it is. So that's where we are, that we shall continue removing that F and putting a T and telling a Kenya, this is what we are dealing with. And it has to go back to start working for Kenyans for it not to have a T at the end.
Pasi, umesema you spend a lot of time with under 35s in terms of engaging them because that's where your heart is and that's where your mission is. We've recently heard of the pronouncements from the Catholic bishops, and the Anglican Church has come in and thrown their weight behind what they said last Thursday against the government and the state of the nation. Is that, in your view, a form that can take public participation? Sababu, many people look up to you, viongozi wa dini, to give them direction. Kwanza, waweza sema ukweli, mumekuwa mkilalia masikio ama mumekuwa mkifanya kazi yenu in your leadership?
I said during the time of the Gen Z demonstrations, we came in late. And I think, unfortunately, relevance and timing have to come together. Our problem is we get relevant when it's too late. So we're now making noise. When the kids were being killed on the streets, we didn't say anything. I called, I talked to pastors, I walked into the city myself, because I believe if my young person is there, and my son was there, if my children are there, I should be in front of them. Me, I've already spent time in this world, I can die. They still have their future. Two, in the question of the church participation, I think we've failed this nation. As Christian leaders, or as spiritual leaders, for that matter, every time the matters come to head, we look for our safety ground. And even now, as recent as what has happened in these past few days, what he has mentioned, you know, people still giving offerings to the church, we had said no to this thing. And I think even the head of state had said, oh, after this, we're not going to be giving. But, you know, it's politics. Now we are giving again. I was surprised to see all the head of state, the former head of state, the new deputy, the retired deputy, all of them together in one place because political interest is as such. And when you talk about public participation, the first tenet of public participation is that it has to be of public interest. Impeachment is not of public interest. It's a political move. Moving the electoral period from 5 to 7 years is not of public interest. In fact, right now we are tired already. And so if we could make it 3, it would have been nice. But clearly, nobody will agree to that. And so let's keep it at 5. A lot of the things that have come over the last couple of months have just been a smokescreen. Impeachment was a smokescreen. The real deals that are happening behind the back were happening as we were focusing on, is it impeachment, is it 7 years? And unfortunately, the government has kept bringing one smokescreen after another, while the real deals are happening in the background. And even for the church to speak and say, oh, we will now go against, we should have left the government a long time ago. But I know what happened during the time when the church leaders were about to say no, they were all invited to State House. And we saw the photo going around.
You included?
No, I'm a teenager.
Yeah, carry on.
And so we need to be able to call a spade a spade. We are not just, and I told guys, we are not, the young people are not on the street because of the finance bill. They are on the street because of the lack of integrity in terms of process, lack of integrity in terms of financial expenditures in this country, lack of integrity in terms of truth. These are things that are in any spiritual book in the world, be it the Quran, the Bible, the Vedas, whichever you choose. And so we need to come back to the place where we say, what is right and what is wrong? And that is where we stand, not on who is in power and who is not. And as a church, we stand for that, and we speak as a prophetic voice to the government, but also as an advocate for the people who are downtrodden.
Would you say there's been a change of approach from the religious leaders in their approach in terms of engaging the state? And you could look at what has happened recently. You've said there is the attempt to be relevant, but it happens late. But is there a genuine approach from the leadership of religious, those in the religious circle, to push back on behalf of Mwananchi?
I think it's just, as he said, ukiguza mlima, wa mlima watawika. Ukiguza mto, ukiguza bahari. So it's not a genuine. And I'm saying this as a Christian leader, because I've called people and I've told them, guys, we need to stand up and speak. But when the interests for them are being met, when it's my church that is receiving the offering, I'm not going to put my head on the line. But when now it comes to, now people in my community are beginning to raise and say, hey, you as our leader, then I stand up and gingerly go to the president and say, you know, we need, and it's not so much to bring a voice, it's to negotiate for a position. That's what happened in 2022. The leaders negotiated for some positions, and that's why they're also frustrated. Ulituambia, nah, we are outside. So until we move out of my interest and to looking at the public interest and to looking at the need of the people, we have the highest percentage of unemployment among the young people today than ever before. Until we put our heads together and say, let's deal with this, whatever it takes, whoever we need to call, whoever we need to address, whoever we need to fire, then we have not started being genuine about the change. So what you are seeing here is interests.
I'm coming to you, two gentlemen, but Bevelyn wants to say something in response.
This is to Pastor. Yeah. I have a question. As a person who participated actively in the Mandamano ya Finance Bill, the church ilikam badai. Does it mean the church was just waiting to see how many of us are going to die so that they can come? Or they were just fence-sitting? You know, fence-sitting has the best view to see our Gen Z watatupea nini. Or you people were waiting to be called to State House, because after you went to State House, you issued a statement. Secondly, is the church now actively calling out the government because there was a law that was imewekwa ya kuambia kanisa ianze kufanya accountability na return taxes. Are you people with us because you want to be with us, or you are calling out the government because you people mmeinjectiwa, like you have felt the pain? Also, on Sunday, I think the president was in Kayole. Akipeana ya 5 million as an individual or as sisi wote. Is the president trying to intimidate the church, like, or to silence them with that 5 million? Like, watu wa Catholic wenye mlikuja call out, I'm giving you 5 million, shut down. Or you are going to take back the money to the president and say, we run churches, we run microfinances, we run schools, we don't want your money, and this is what we want to do. Do the right thing.
Tuanze na hiyo murima ya kanisa. Is it because murima yenu imeguzwa, and that's why?
I said this, and I'll say this again. The bill that has been put, the Shakahola report, is what she's talking about. And literally, the recommendations are damning to the church. When you look at it, it's more punitive than it is even restorative in terms of bringing order to the church. And I believe one of the reasons that was put as a trump card, because as he said, a number of these bills, a number of the things that are happening in the country now had been discussed earlier. All right? So when Shakahola happened, we were told, listen, if you come to my side, this thing will be shelved for the next 5 years. And I know a conversation happened that, this thing will not see the light of day. But when the church leaders now said, hey, things are hot. Our young people are on the street. We are getting the fire from the populace. We are in international media because we are not saying anything. Then the church leaders stood up. The next thing that happened is the card was brought out. Where is that report? And the report was brought. Mutava Musimi. When the report was released and we saw what was inside there, again, negotiations. And I'm not taking that up for the church because me, I've spoken. Yeah. I've been on the street. I was in town with you guys because I knew. And I remember the day that I had gone, that very evening, they asked, where was the church? The pictures that appeared were my picture and a couple of other guys. I was even summoned by some guys to be asked, were you representing us? I told you I represented myself as a believer. If you don't see the need to be on the street, then that's yours. Because what I believe these guys are doing on the street is biblical. Now, the hoodwinking of taking 5 million, 10 million, 50 million to the church has always been there. We shouldn't be accepting money from the government. Unfortunately, people don't have the same opinion and interest. If right now a call came from State House, a lot of pastors will drop everything. You just see me excusing myself. And I take off because that's where the interest is. Until we wake up to the fact that we are not representing a man or men, but representing God before men. And by that, our mandate is from God to be able to speak to what is true, right, just. Then we will always find ourselves in that position. And no wonder we come in late. We come in when it is safe to speak. And I always tell people, don't go where you are celebrated. Go where you are needed.
Matirong, and I'll open it, and I'm glad that you've raised your hand. Kuna kitu inamchoma huyu anataka kuzungumza. And feel free to just shoot up your hand, and if you've had something to say or comment or chime in as we were continuing. I see you, and I see you. I'll bring it to you, but we just have to have a first round to our panel to have a response. So I see 3 already. So to the technical team, naona watu wamechangamkia maswali hapa na comments. So Amos, in terms of engagement, because you are, for IMLU, you are the technical lead for grassroots engagement. Is there a way, especially for the marginalized, to get them more involved in public participation for matters governance and policy, in your experience, from IMLU perspective and what you've been following this year?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, surely there is a way for everybody to participate in what is happening in the Republic, because you see we are a democracy. What is a democracy? A democracy is a system of governance whereby power is vested on the people. So everything that happens should be getting the mandate from the people. But you see what's happening is that there are so many things that are happening in our country. Number one, there's a lot of ignorance. I think it's just until now when we had the issue of the finance bill that I think we've seen a lot, a very bold move by the youth in this country. But for the longest, people have been ignoring. You don't care who is going to be elected. You see, the 6 million that you're talking about that never participated in the election, maybe around 5 million is youth, because maybe we didn't get time to arm youth. And I'm really a proud Kenyan youth. But I think also sometimes as youth, there was a time that we were a bit reluctant. And that is that case applies even now to the marginalized, to the grassroots. You go to the communities, they don't care what their government do. Right now, we are having a government that has been brought close to the people. And the reason why we are trying to do that is try to take service closer to the people. And service also comes with the aspect of participation. You need to be the person that is actually saying what needs to be done. But it should not be the top-down issue that we had before the 2010 Constitution. So one thing that needs to happen is that I think Kenyans need to wake up to the realization that we are the determinants of our destiny. We are the people that should be actually, and I think what happened during the finance bill is just an eye-opener, because we've been able to realize that we can push against these excessive government policies. We can push against things that I think it's the very first time that Kenyans realize that, yes, we can really face the government. We can really stand against something, and that thing will not go through. Because what we have, okay, we are in a democracy whereby Kenyans can participate either directly or indirectly. But what is happening with the indirect aspect, it is failing us. Right now, after the finance bill was denied by Kenyans, that is the time now politicians or our MPs are coming back to say, oh, I realize there was something about COVID that was sneaked inside there. There was something about livestock that was sneaked in there. But this person was very proud, with a lot of energy, with a lot of enthusiasm, standing in the floor of the House saying, I vote yes for this bill. But the representation that we have donated as Kenyan is failing us. So we have no option. The only option that we have is that now we take back our power. We participate. We make sure that we are the ones that decides what happened. And it is possible, because you realize now what the Gen Zs, and I'm really proud of this section of the Kenyan population. And actually, this afternoon when we had the invite to this town hall, it was about youth participation, and we started a discussion that what happened to the Tuesdays, because we've been looking forward to them. It has really changed the discourse in this country. It has really changed how things are going. Even the issue of the churches that you're talking about, I think for some time, we have never seen these politicians again go to churches. They're starting to come back now, because they're realizing now, one thing that happens with Kenyans, and I'm a Kenyan and I like to say that we easily forget. Very easily forget. Right now, we will forget that these are the people we cannot trust. These are people that are only looking after their interests. So I think for me, this is just a wake-up call for the Kenyans. Whether you are in the rural, you are in the urban, everything that happens in this country affects everybody. Even if you are living in a cave, it will affect you.
All right.
So I think it's high time that as Kenyans we need to realize that we have power in our disposal. The Constitution gives us that power, and we need to exercise that.
And to someone who has became a figure of, the people shall, the people may, is right across from me here. I knew him more from the music section. Like, he's a gifted musician, teacher. And so when I saw his picture on the street, I was like, is that? Because he entertains on stage, very gifted at that. And then during the Maandamano, that's when more people knew about Casmuel Makoure. Would you say, from your background, has your form of public participation changed? So right now you're participating in public engagement as ODM Party Youth League leader and representative. Has it changed? Has that representative of push for better governance changed from when it started, at least when people thought it started for you?
Excuse me. Not at all. I don't think so. Just a quick one. How many people were at Bomas of Kenya? During the thing for Gachagua.
Huyu anasema muli change location.
Hapana, nauliza it's ni rahisi sana. How many were at Bomas of Kenya? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it's a handful. Ideally, I feel like we're not as interested in the change. We're interested in talking about change, but we're not interested in it as an actual thing. Because I got to Bomas to the rudest shock of my life. That ground ilikuwa inasema I could not say, for example, Ruto must go. That was prohibited. I got in there and nikakutana na watu who are potential voters. These people who we say were given 500 bob, these are the people who usually come to those events, right? These are the people who will vote in 2027. It's not that because we think they're daft, they will not vote in 2027. So I think we need to find what our alternative of the 500 shilling note is as citizens who are looking for a progressive Kenya. So if the 500 shilling note is bad, and I know it's bad, what do I have that replaces it? If I were to go to the church, any good Christian knows that church and state should never intersect anywhere. The state should not be able to tell the church what to do. The church should not tell the state what to do. That's what we believe. If you've read the Bible, even when people moved from a theocracy into all these other crazes we have until we've gotten to democracy, the Bible says, and the kings shall take your sons by force and conscript them to armies, and they will take your children and enslave them, and they will make them to work the fields. So the moment we start looking to the church, while we are in a democracy, of course we cannot solve this. If I were to think about it, unless we're asking ourselves to go back to a theocracy, because is this not the same church that told us William was a God-given leader? Is it not? Still, and no, this is saying not all churches. This is like saying not all men. You know, is this not the same church? And I've even seen preachers, I've seen some pastors go off on social media congratulating a bishop for speaking to Zakayo and calling him a thief directly to his eye. And he's saying, this is the prophetic that he's getting. And if you look at the video, you know that this is a doctored video. I'm not here to support Bill, not at all. But if you can tell me it's prophetic and you cannot see when a video has been edited, I want nothing to do with your prophecy. To everyone who's been saying that William Samoei Ruto lied, did he suddenly change in 2022? No, we cannot behave as though William has suddenly changed once he became the president. People have looked at me and told me all sorts of things, and I say, why don't we expect the same kind of accountability from our elected leaders? I'm a musician. Anyone who knows me personally knows I have not changed one bit. I am this vocal, I'm this eccentric in my music, I'm this eccentric in my education, I'm this eccentric in my opinions. It's just that now you've known me post maandamano and you think I need to act the way you... Anyone who knows me knows I do whatever I think is right. So if I'm thinking about public participation, we have to invest in it. I will tell you for free. See, you realize that location ilikuwa imechangiwa. Roughly about how long? 9 a.m. Yeah. So now imagine, I'm at an interview and I'm telling them, "Ebu show me KICC." Then the journalist tells me, "Hapana, iko KICC, iko Bomas." So I had to drive from there to go all the way to Bomas. I'm not a career politician. So it's about all of us to step down from our high horses and say that if we truly want this country to change, we will be willing to invest in it. And I'm saying this now when I say, of course, when I introduced myself, I told people, oh, join Chama Kubwa, and because I'm in the youth league. I think about it, for me, it's rather clear. The only way we will take political power is by actually participating in the politics. The personal is political. Everything about us is political. I've seen even our biggest influencers, are they not the same people who sold Ruto? Are they not the people who sold this government to us? Yeah. The people who are speaking the loudest. They marketed this and they said, this is the one. You who's watching, you who's listening to me, do you remember we voted for ICC alumni? Kwanzaa, there was an election, we went to give it as a birthday present. Hey. Tukasema sasa ya pili sasa, ya kwanza ilikuwa pole for ICC. Hii ya pili, let's give you for happy birthday. But we want to sit in town halls and sound pretty, and I want to insult you because I disagree with you, without realizing that we might talk all we want. But this change, if it is to be political, will not happen by you becoming the youth leader in your church. It will happen by you joining a political party. Join a political vehicle or instrument that is of your choice. Personally, I have weighed everything that has been laid down to me, and this is the one that I found to be preferable. If you find a vehicle that works for you, or if you don't think that vehicle is there, build it. But we cannot be armchair revolutionaries where the church wants to issue a statement after things have happened, and it is the same church and you remember us joking that if we want the church to be interested in this political thing, let's just say it has gay, it has homosexual things. The church is always willing to speak about homosexuality. But tukiongelea hii mambo ingine, they've only started talking about Zakayo, and I'll say a very unpopular thing, because sermons has ibambi. The churches are bending to the trends. You find pastors, I'll talk about churches because I'm a Christian, pastors spend more time speaking about good governance, speaking about governmental accountability, and you know very well if you're a Christian, the core mandate of a pastor is to proclaim Christ and Him crucified and Him resurrected. The church has no business doing that. We as citizens could go an extra mile. But the pulpit, if I find you talking about Zakayo on the pulpit, what's the difference between him coming and offering? So if we get out of that bubble and invest in our country as badly as we want the change to come, I think that will be a first. And this kind of things, where we sit down and pick our brains and ask why, where, how, I think this is a very good first step.
All right, so I'll give an opportunity to Dr. to respond to what you've just said, and I've seen a hand by the lady back there and this gentleman in response to what he said, and then you, sir. And then we could get to the round here of conversation. Dr.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, our brother. And this is what I will want to say. I'll speak as an Islamic authority. In Islam, we are told, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. And I'm saying this because we Muslims have Quran. That is what leads us. That is our code of law. And we are told, كنتم خير أمة. You are the best of the humanity. تأمرون بالمعروف أخرجت للناس who are given to people. تأمرون بالمعروف, that you are supposed to go and order for everything what is right. وتنهون عن المنكر, and speaking against evil. So in Islam, it is our work to speak the truth, to protect our people against anyone. So when you look actually at all the prophets, and I'll go back, and it's very unfortunate, every time I speak about Christian leaders, it's very unfortunate, because the problem of this country and where we were taken to where we are by the religious leaders from the Christians, not Muslims. Because in Islam, I cannot allow a politician, whoever he is, to come into my pulpit. I'm an imam, I'm a sheikh. I stand up, and even if any minister comes, Duale comes, Balala comes, if he comes late, he sits there. But in the church, it's a bad behavior. You keep a seat here for a politician who comes late, then he walks like a bride, and he's being escorted to come and sit here. Shame on you, religious leaders who keep seats for the people to come and sit in front. Shame on you. You should stop doing that. When they come to church, let them sit wherever they came. And you know, actually, they make churches like markets. They'll come for 5 minutes, come and poison here, then you go to another church. One religious leader, one politician can go to 5 churches in same day to abuse others, give money and go. This behavior should stop. So whoever wants to go to church, my friend, go to one church one Sunday. We will not allow you to go to more than one church. Get service in one church. If we could see you going to another church, we will stop you. So we Muslim leaders, we are called upon to go talk about the state. And when you look at Moses, what did he do? He went to liberate his people from Pharaoh. Pharaoh was the most powerful person at that time. When you look at Abraham, he was also saving his people. So I think we have to change and note that our religious leaders are supposed to speak the truth to the power, because the power belongs to God. In Islam, we said, قُلِ اللَّهُمَّ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتَنْزِعُ الْمُلْكَ مِمَّنْ تَشَاءُ. Say, oh Allah, you are the owner of kingdom. You give kingdom to whoever you want, you take it from whoever you want. What I'm trying to say, it is the responsibility of all religious leaders to speak against anyone who goes against the people, because we are the servants of the people, and we must always protect our people from all evil. Thank you.
Just to clarify that, unfortunately, I'm also a very decent Christian. However, I believe we should not pontificate. We should not use our Christianity to woo people. That's why I try not to talk about it as much. Kenya's problems are a colonial problem. They're not necessarily Christianity is violent. However, in the examples you've given of Moses and Abraham, the people were still under a theocracy. They had one leader, and it was God. And that's why I'm saying, when the country is still an 85% Christian state, in the dispensation, it becomes harder. And it would be nice for us to see what it would look like if we shifted to an Islamic republic, but that's a different discussion. That's why I keep on saying separation of church and state has to be very, very clear, because these are, the pulpit is a very, very, should be a very, very special place where politics should not be happening. So yes, it's our duty to speak out. However, once religious leaders, when's the last time, do you know anything more about Jesus from the religious leaders as much as you know anything from the political side? We're saying that wamelegeza, both in the work they're supposed to be doing, and even this work that they're doing, that they want to do, is just because they have the numbers. However, even that church, There used to be a very famous pastor. Yesu aliyesulubiwa. Correct. Naomba kwamba. Pius Muiru, he used to fill stadiums and he vied for presidency. Yeah? You remember what happened, yeah?
Let the lady comment or ask a question. Please give her a mic. She's right there. No, in response to what Kasmol had said, she wanted to ask a question. And then I'll give it to you. And I believe this gentleman, I'm just going by the ones who wanted to respond, and then he will go next. I'll bring it to you.
My name is Sefusani. I want to respond to something that Kasmol has said here when we were speaking about the church, and he says that the church has no responsibility. Actually, they should not be involving themselves in matters of the state, which I think I want to oppose very vehemently. Not just the church, but religious leaders. And, excuse me, he used an example of the Bible. I'll use it because I'm a Christian and some of us are, and of course we have other religions. David, when he became king and when he did wrong things, the prophet Nathan went and condemned him. That time, there was a leader in Israel. In the same manner, even Saul himself, the first leader of Israel, when he did wrong, Samuel went and corrected him. Those are just two examples I'm giving. There was a prophet in the Old Testament known as Amos as well. He spoke out on issues of social justice as a mouthpiece of God. Issues of social justice, which are what? Socio-economic rights of the people, enshrined in Article 43 of our Constitution. What are socioeconomic rights? Right to good health care, right to good infrastructure, right to higher education of choice, all these issues. Now, Pasi spoke about, for example, the people in Kayole who are given money to build a church or for whatever purpose. And I just want to state here today that the issue of the people is not that they're taking money. It is a material condition issue. Why didn't the president go to a church in Runda to give 5 million shillings? He went to a church in Kayole. We have not seen any of those politicians go to Kirisuru or to any of those places. They will go to Kibera, they will go to Kayole, even in the rural areas. They will go to a place where people lack material conditions. So the problem here is an issue of poverty. Honestly, today, if you are somewhere and you have no food, you will not have the strength to even go to the streets to protest. If someone comes and gives you 50 shillings, it's because of your need. It is not because, you do not have, you're not a respectable person. It is because you have been robbed of your dignity. And that is what our leadership over the years has done to the people. It has robbed us of dignity. That is why we have those slum areas, for example, underdeveloped areas in the country. So it is an issue of leadership. When we are saying that the church should not speak out, or religious leaders, it is there where the people are. The church should and must speak about social justice issues. That is why the church is building schools, is building hospitals, and the church is also a part of the civil society. So it is not just for them giving us hope and saying things are going to be okay. Things are not okay. So what do you do in such a situation when things are not okay? The church is a civil society. We've had people like Reverend Timothy Njoya, who was participating in, in our liberation, the second liberation. It's not just us young people. The church has been involved, even in the past. We had Archbishop Ndinki Mwana Nzeki. The thing is, the church has come in too late, but it is fine that they have come in. What we say is, now you have to keep on speaking about these issues, not just the church, but all other religious leaders. And not just other religious leaders, all the young people, and not just young people. In June, there was the youthful protest. Now we are calling on all strata of society. We are calling on the church. We are calling on other religious leaders. We are calling on the teachers. We are calling on our mothers. When we are going to the streets, let it be all of us, because this is an issue of leadership and we want an overhaul of the system. Yeah. From everything that has happened.
Just to give an opportunity for participation of the others, this young gentleman is next. That was more of a comment, and thank you for that. And then to you, sir. And then now to him and this young man. Alafu sasa tutapea wafuasi hapo waendelee na maoni.
So my name is Geoffrey Mboya. I'm an activist. I've been doing this actively for the last maybe 8-9 years. I grew up in Mukuru Kwanjenga, which is an urban informal settlement in the southern part of Nairobi. So actually, she shared some perspective that I already had, but just to ask this question to Samuel, is you said during your introduction that you're now part of ODM Youth League. The time we stepped out as young people across all major towns in the country, we were all united with the tribeless thing. And the drafters of democracy, the Greek people, they were quoted to say, if you give democracy to young people, it's a dangerous thing. Now you've chosen a side, which is good for you. But there's so many young people across the country who were inspired by your stand, by your, the viewpoints that you're presenting here. As we speak here, how many of you are members of any political party, by show of hand?
Without choice.
Without choice, yeah?
I got a notification.
Yeah. I'm not seeing as many hands. Yeah, I'm not seeing as many hands. Yeah? And the question should be why? Why are we not joining political party, especially at this moment? It's because there's a lot happening. Yeah? There's so many people who cannot make a stand to join a certain political party because of the political trajectory that is happening right now. We're going through so many phases. Today, a politician aligned with a certain party will make a certain move, and everyone completely direct their energy and their attitudes and their perception towards another stand. So many young people, the question that is out there that so many are asking is, how come you would take a stand with a political party that has left a number of interests only to their side and not to the collective Kenyans who are like so worried about the state of affairs?
I think umeuliza swali, wacha ajibu.
Thanks for that question. I think we were all sorts of things. We were tribeless, yes. We were fearless. We were leaderless. We were partyless, right? And what else? Classless. Classless is an interesting one. So in terms of leaderless, then why is it a big deal what I do? That's one. In terms of tribeless, the moment I realized that there was a problem is when people started calling me a kehe, when people started calling me a kipi, when people started telling me that I'm a mogoroki. Then I asked myself, as anyone would, who else might have gone through the same things I'm going through right now? Is there another person in Kenya who we might know who's had those descriptions? Kehe, kipi, mogoroki, who is it? Yes, so in my head, I was just like, let me go, and because I have a person who's gone through this thing. Of course, after praying, I consulted Christ first. But anyways, then we were partyless. But you've asked the question, and in all honesty, the whole room has raised their hands. In terms of partylessness, we said that we are going to the streets and we will not let our party affiliations define our struggle. I was on the street. I was truly partyless. I won't even lie. A lot of the people who are on the front lines have been aligned with political parties before. Mimi, I was coming in as I said, I don't want this thing. But when I went on the street and met Fanya Mambo from a different political party from Mulima, tulisema weka hivi vitu yote kando. Now, this is the thing. But then, we are still fearless. But my thing for joining that youth league was I need a political vehicle that is going to allow me and fellow youth across the country to be able to effect certain changes. I'm not saying this is a person who did not try. Remember, I've consistently had to fight to clear my name because this is not the first time I was being called a sellout. Right now is not the first time. That's why I was talking trash to you guys. Because Mimi from week 2, it has always been a battle. But when I was on the street, I was told, don't you remember there were our younger siblings who tried to come and say that they wanted to form a Gen Z political party. Do you remember what you did to those kids? We insulted the hell out of them. Some of them left social media. They've never talked about the movement. But if we are truly pro-democracy, if we truly are the tolerant left, we should have let those people form their own political party. Then if it aligned with the ideals we are looking for, we would have joined. If not, we would have joined another one, right? However, I find myself at an impasse where when I'm on the streets donating my body, because I never missed a protest, just like most of you, tuliambiwa don't form a political party. But right after a state attempt on my life on the 8th of August, some people are allowed to form a political party. And you fund it, you guys. Even I funded it, I kid you not. So I looked at this thing, and now remember, I'm not even throwing shade at anyone. I'm just saying, as a person, because you said you are inspired, and I hope that at some point, you can still have the grace to trust that I'm still that courageous and inspirational, sort of rational thinking human being, and that we can carry this discussion out of the town hall. But for everyone who's listening, I did an analysis of all the existing political parties and possible political vehicles and said, this is the one where I was most welcomed and I saw most opportunity for growth and the closest avenue for youth taking power in the country.
He mentioned your name. You want to say something, then this gentleman has, and then you.
Thank you. Where? You know I was on the streets. And mine was bad because, let me tell you something. Allow me to indulge you a bit. November 2023, I was talking about taxation. November 2023, when people are talking about different things. I was even saying government sasa ichukue mshahara, sisi tuchukue taxes. Bombers of Kenya, NADCO, when people were talking devolution na vitu za ujinga, I call them vitu za ujinga because they wanted to create Ijara County and Teso County, I was talking taxation. We sat in a room, myself, Honorable Sifuna, Honorable Wamushomba, and a few others, and we said, let's fight this finance bill. How much money did we have between us? Nothing. I was at the center of telling people, and he asked me one time, where is your sense of self-preservation? Because we started that conversation about finance bill. And I'm glad, and I thank each of you who took it up and put it on their TikTok and put it on their social media. Because when we started, we were about 5. But how Kenyans took it up and went to the streets. Because I remember in Bomas, I had a t-shirt written 10% ni yangu ya Mungu, 20% ya serikali, 70% ni yangu. Those t-shirts are still there. Those videos are still there. But where that went, when I saw those words on placards during the demos, I was very humbled. Because we started a fire that we never knew would have become that big. But it was successful. My challenge to everybody in this room is, and I'll speak for Casmuel and myself, is even the civil society has not invested in the people they want to champion their cause. Let me explain something. Vile munaniona hapa, munafikiria sijatishwa na Subaru. Ama vile munaniona hapa, munafikiria sijapewa pesa na hii serikali. In the millions. which before God and man I can swear I have not accepted. But they for whom I fight never thought that it costs to fight. Mark Masai has told you, I'm yawning because I'm probably on my 4th show. It's actually the 5th today. A good week for me means 10 to 15 media appearances. If I do it, I spend between 10 to 15,000 on fuel in a week. And if I continue, it's about 50 to 60,000 of fuel in a month. They for whom I fight don't see the need to support. In fact, civil society tells me, we don't work with individuals, we work with organizations. Go and camouflage yourself into an organization and come. Nonsense. I go to Spice FM, and then I find on social media a video of mine with 6.3 million views and more than 35,000 shares. It tells you something. And they are busy funding, I don't know what kind of people, putting them in hotel rooms without any output. 50, 60 people because it's an organization. If we want to win this fight, we must support our soldiers who are in it. And if we don't, they will be given the offers, the kind of offers I get left, right, and center. Hakuna mahali sijaitwa, na hakuna pesa sijaitiwa. But God has been faithful. I said I will not sell my soul. When he asked who is a member of a political party, I was in Jubilee. I am not ashamed to say I left. And when I looked for a party that had almost nobody, where I'm in and I'll be welcoming young people in, because we had to now start leading the path, I was in Azimio. I will say on this show without fear, I cannot follow Baba anymore. I can't. Because when we were saying no to this administration, he joined the same administration. I have profound respect for him, for what he has done in terms of fighting for constitutionalism in this country. That will never be taken away from him. But leading us into Ruto's hands, I cannot go. And telling us that I'm an amphibian, tumepeana nusu ya ODM, tuko serikali, nusu atuko. What kind of nonsense is that? You cannot be a frog. You cannot be an amphibian. You cannot be in water and on land. You have to choose. And I have chosen to stay out. I've chosen to be broke. I've chosen to be without money. I have chosen to be a living sacrifice for my country. Where is my sense of preservation sometimes when I speak? It's in saying no. If I died for saying no, it is well. You people have known me. You have seen what I have done, and I have been passionate. And I will tell you here and now, I am not selling my soul to anybody for any price. I am not joining anybody who has participated in any way in supporting the emasculation of our young people, the death of our young people. Some of the people who are calling me now is to join a team of someone who just oversaw the killing of so many young people. And it to be in terms of it to be part of their communication strategy and team. Communicate what? Tell Kenyans that people who were killing young people are good now. No, I won't do that. So I don't want to be rich. In fact, even if you don't vote for me, it's fine. I will be offering myself in 2027. But even if you don't vote for me, I will remain with my dignity. So when I'm calling upon everybody to know, it's not, people are thinking that this is a sprint. That's where you go wrong. Fanyamambo knows this is a marathon. And let's go slowly. Just make incremental growth. We will get there. I respect your choices. I respect your decisions. I will never fight you about them. In fact, I hate it when people who've never given a coin to his thing are fighting the people who are supporting him. Because in ODM, he has a chance. Maybe he'll become an MP. Maybe he will grow. And I tell people as I finish, because this is not my function, it's for all of us. Orengo is out there. He's done his part. You will see Jimmy Wanjigi. The way you see all those politicians, most of us here will be one of them. One will be an Orengo, one will be a Moite, one will be whatever, one will be an Uhuru, one will be a Ruto. I pray there will be no other than that with that name. But that's what some people will be. Choose what you want to be politically. But I have chosen to be that one guy who, if there's anything that's going to be said about me, is that I stood firm and I chose a direction and I took a vow of poverty. I would rather be poor than rich and wealthy and in status, but at the expense of my people.
Asante for that. Sir, you had a question earlier or comment, and then you, and then takuja kwako. Kuna mic tayari, sorry about that. And I'll give an opportunity. I see way at the back here, and kuna watu na hapa pia, kuna watu. The floor is yours. And keep it short, please.
Okay, thank you. I don't know how to keep it short because the
Try.
conversation
For
is very interesting. My name is Habib Omar. I'm a community organizer, public noisemaker to be precise. I make a lot of noise because our silence kills. And definitely, maybe let me start by saying that I'm very skeptical about even the press statement being given by religious leaders. I feel like it's a scheme by Zakayo just to ensure that we do not rise again. And because church speaks for us as the people. They've been silent for the longest period of time. So definitely, I'm not one person who is buying into that aspect. Until that point and the time that we'll be able to see church leaders on the street leading the process, calling out, being categorically calling that wewe ni mwizi, ama Ruto wacha kuwa vijana, ama wacha stop abducting young people and all that, then we'll be able to believe church. Maybe just coming to Samuel Kasaure, you see, Thomas Sankara actually warned us against being potential criminals, because a soldier without ideology is a potential criminal. And definitely, I don't know if Samuel is a potential criminal, or what are some of the values, what are the virtues, what are the principles that you stand for? What is that one thing that you stand for as a young leader that you are ready and willing to die for, that you can be known for? And then secondly, you have talked about us joining political parties, which I agree it is good for us to be able to join various political parties because that is a tool that we can be able to mobilize and capture power with. But may I ask, do we have political parties in this country? Do we really? Do we have political parties, or do we have tribal affiliations, or maybe personal tool to be able to make business, do business? Do we have political party? Because at the center of the political party must be the interest of the people. Tell me which political party, yes, ODM stands for democracy, the D in democracy. Does it really work in ODM? How many people have been shortchanged during party nomination processes? Who in ODM or UDA today can be able to challenge Raila Amolo Odinga? Samuel, you are saying that you're going to bring change within ODM. Can you be able to challenge Raila and tell him, no, we do not want Adani because he was in support of it? Can you? Because we need to be realistic. This is one person at the end of the day. We were surprised because for the longest, and we wanted to call Raila for who he is. We appreciate the work he has done, the sacrifices he has made. But for how long are we going to pray for that price tag? Because he was a liberator, he stood firm, he was a social justice advocate. Then now everything he says and he does is okay, that we cannot be able to challenge and question. And today you want to tell us that ODM is the biggest political party. What ideologies, what is it that they stand for? That today we have lost young people who are killed, people are being abducted. Right now you're just walking around the street, but you have fear. You fear for your life. For us, I will be able to tell you, for example, I serve at Kariobangi Social Justice Center. And these things, we run with our own coin. Sometimes you help someone, and it's that same person who is going to be able to abuse you and maybe even attack you. But you serve within that community. Sometimes we use our own pocket money. And we have been there. So at the end of the day, we need to be able to challenge ourselves as young people, that we'll never allow ourselves to be allured by the essence of maybe gaining power, popularity, and all that. It's all about aspiration. It's all about standing for something. And that is why some of us, we are very skeptical about you, and because you are very promising, you did what you could be able to do, but right now we think that you're just a potential criminal.
Very promising as what?
You see, you came into limelight and all that because you had that determination. And in between, young people actually believed in you. But definitely at this point in time, we don't know, because you have joined the oppressor.
They believed in me for what? That's what I honestly want to answer this question.
Yes, they believed in you because of what you stood for.
Is there something you believe I stood for that I have recently
You stood
betrayed?
for what is right. We were fighting to be able to realize change in this country. Things were not right. And we thought that at the end of the day, we have identified ourselves with you because we've been in this struggle for a very long time, you see. But at the end of the day, we feel disappointed as young people. And we have to tell you this. And that is why I'm asking, what do you stand for as a young person? Are you a potential criminal? What are some of the values that you believe in? Because Thomas Sankara actually warned us against being potential criminals.
Anaweza jibu hilo swali.
I feel like it's a question that puts you in a corner. But I can get myself out of that corner. You've been in activism for how long? So for the last 10 years, you have been consistently fighting for the people. So it means you're well grounded in ideology. I will not ask you what it is, right? The area MCA, from where you come from, is he better educated politically than you are? No. Your area MP, is he better politically educated than you are? How comes then you are not in that position? You've been doing it for 10 years. You've been trying, right? Have you vied for the thing? You've tried, and so the Kenyans did not. Yes, they made a choice, right? It's a thing which I was asking myself when I was, because I've come into this activism space as a fairly new figure. It's a fight I've been having with the people, saying that what is our alternative to the 500 shilling note? No amount of ideology. Sankara worked because he took power, right? Because right now, and I've asked you what you believed in me for, you can't even tell me. You just feel like, no, this man has disappointed us because he's joined ODM. But the question you've asked me, you should have said, because I've consistently said these are the things that I've been fighting for. The three things all of us have been fighting for: good governance, accountability in government, and lack of corruption. I have donated my body to the streets this entire year. You're talking about pocket money. Until now, and this is a dare which I saw today, I even was doing something on socials, I have not received a single cent from government. When we were at the height of protest, niliambiwa nilete list. I could have joined this government. I've had several opportunities. As we speak, being told now you can give us names of people you want to be nominated to members of committees and chairmen of committees. The reason why I still work like this is because, and why I've not beefed up security, is because I believe the only thing I have is my vest of morality. And as you ask the things I stand for, and why you would say, are there political parties? I'll take you back to 2022 then. We have a lot of political parties. We have, let's talk about the parties in the left. Name them. We have Ukweli Party, yes. We have Communist Party of Kenya. We have United Green Movement. We have RSL. We have Chama Mapinduzi. Kweli. PRP, All African People. Oh, you see, a lot of these parties, and I know people who want to spark debate, they signed an MOU with Kenya Kwanza, or they signed an MOU with Azimio. Am I lying? So, you guys refuse to form a political party now. Or if we form it, I refuse to join a party where I am the party leader, my classmate is the party chairman, my group of boys are the party officials. If I join ODM, and I've said, I need you guys, ukisikia nasema join the youth league, from my analysis, just the way you've decided to work with, like, for example, Kariobangi Social Justice Center, and there's a particular goal which you're pursuing, I've done an analysis and seen, this is where my influence can work for the Kenyan people the most. A lot of the times, people don't attack me on ideology, they attack me on what they perceive I'm doing. So you tell me, I saw you in a photo with Osoro, I'm a famous guy now. Everyone wants a photo with me. Two, I won't even be humble about it. It's true. But ni sawa. I've paid far.
Internet imekungoja.
I've paid far worse prices, but I am not specifically saying that this is your best thing to do. But we cannot sit and become armchair revolutionaries, that all we want to do is write grants and proposals, go and do concerts, go and pick papers along riverbanks, and sijui plant a few mbogas, then one MP comes and says, lalisha hii kitu yote, and inalala. And you want to tell me that in this room, nobody has the potential to become an MP? Yeah, but all of you are very eloquent people, and you know, whichever political party you join, utapatiwa kiti as the youth person. Kwa nini tusibattle hizi vitu out instead of being in a town hall? Because kama hii ndio ingekuwa bunge, tungekuwa tumeangusha finance bilama, tungekuwa tumetoa shi na sha. But hii kitu tumelalia. NHIF, when they wanted to change it, this is a conversation that started in 2021. But tumekuwa tumelala, and then MPs, sitting MPs who you pay from your pocket, now want to be activists. And then you want to blame it on a musician. Ni sawa.
No, actually, that's what I wanted to build on. Are you able to, as part of ODM Youth League, challenge Raila Amolo Odinga?
What give me a particular issue that I need to challenge. Very good, very good. Sawa sawa. Let's talk about Adani.
Yes.
I was with Baba the day before. I was with Baba the day before he spoke about Adani. And we had this really lengthy chat, and he shows me photos of and videos of them and the kind of work that the man has been doing, and tararara. And he tells me this is why, and I hear people are talking about Adani Gate, and I tell him, yeah, I think I just don't see I don't see how this man is good for the country. I sat with Adani. No, I'm talking about Adani. This is, I didn't sit with Adani.
I sat with Raila, told him.
The Right Honorable Raila, and told him, this is what I think about Adani. I'm still here right now. I'm still in the Youth League. Kwanza, that was even before I joined the Youth League. That was, I think, a day after, that was on the Monday after Bomas. So in this thing for challenging, you sit and you say you cannot challenge Baba, but you've not dared sit with him. You refuse to sit with him. All of us refuse to sit with him. And it's the same way, for example, I am not here, for example, to change what he thinks. I am here to change Kenya. If this is the vehicle I have identified, for example, we usually go to a ballot and you say, Apana, I vote against this man, I vote against this. And this, I'm also subjecting myself to it happening to me. In 2027, mutasema, huyu apana, hajatosha, ama huyu ametosha. I'm not entering this political party to serve the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Even he did not create that party to serve himself, if you read the constitution of the party. I am entering this as a tool that will help us to take political power. I just don't want to sit in a town hall meeting and we have the most robust debates. And then when we go out there, there's someone who's going to piss on the essence of this whole debate.
Let me just push back and ask, with what you said, you challenged him in private.
Right.
Are you able to do it in public as a member of the ODM Youth League and say, we are part of the party, but our position is?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
Would you do it?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I totally would.
All right.
Yes.
And you've mentioned 2027, mneza nikata, so you're offering yourself a
I've said this consistently, that I'm offering myself up for election or nomination.
Right. There's this gentleman, I'll come to him, but lakini ulitaka kusema kitu direct to him. Mingi sana, sema moja tafadhali. Alafu nitakupa, alafu the gentleman there umempa mic, mpe mic awe na standby nayo.
So, Mukuri Ndungu, his neighbor Fanyamambo from Waithaka. And one thing is Casmwell, and we really need to be honest with ourselves. Hii mambo ya public participation vile tunabeba ufala, where it's like a rubber stamping event. It's not new. We're in schools where we didn't elect our prefects. Unaona? So it's not something that has just come out of the blues. It's that when it's actually dealing with you. Or I think someone said when they came for the communist, I was quiet. For this, I was quiet. Imetushika. And that is why we are speaking up. And for Pasi, I know very many people are attacking the churches, but we will not let our churches be attacked because they were on the wrong. But they've woken up. They are our parents. They make bad decisions. Okay, some bad decisions make a bit harsh, but at times they are wrong. At times they are wrong. And for religious leaders, we are with you now, moving on forward. And then,
A
this
bit of pushback.
government...
That's very interesting. You've said that they've always done the right thing, but then at some point they were wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I could replace that with the name of one person and say that he's always made significantly right decisions, and now it's one wrong.
Now, I want to come to...
I'm pushing back.
No problem, no problem. To our current regime, it's either they lied to us in 2022 or they're lying to us now, which at the end of the day, they're still liars. There's nothing new or changing. And I think as I finish up, I was having a discussion with these beautiful ladies over here, and one of them told me, tukiambia certain people in government, hii mali si ya mama yako, ni ukweli si ya mama yako. And churches, vile walikuwa mnapewa basi, school bus is being brought and in the evening is being returned, msitishiwe, hiyo pesa watakujia. But sisi ndio sasa tutawakujia. And they won't believe it. I used to say Kenyans will never go to the streets until I myself went on 25th. Even my mom still doesn't believe, because we are moving on forward. And history, we can never push, or we are not together. The church will come in and ichangie. The Islam people will come in. Mi mtu wa Murima. You know, we are talking about negative ethnicism, where someone only Samuel feels like I was called these names because people who are related or close to these people are called this. No, Kikuyus were better than that. You get? We know you guys are better than that. It's that we are now saying we want to clear all these shenanigans, tribalism, classism, we are all one. Ata Gen Z tuyeke kando. Our fathers are with us, our uncles, our grandparents are with us. We will move on forward together. That should be the agenda now. Not you go to this party or to this party, because we'll still go to those parties and we will still break because you feel me from this party, I'm different from you. So I think I'll finish up at that.
Sir, you've been raising your hand. Nimeona nitawapa mic, and then huyu pia, huyu. So takuja upande huu, siogope. Kidogo nilinchiwe bwana. I'm here for all of you.
Yes, hello guys. I think I don't want to get into so much into the lynchings that we are witnessing here, but I want to express a lot of my respect to Fanya Mambo. I think I've seen most of your talks. They're actually deep, making a lot of sense. And not many Kenyans can actually talk as Fanya Mambo has talked. Expressing the desires, the temptations, the inspirations that he has been going through. And I know even many of us are here and we are talking, but being put into the position that Fanya Mambo has been put into that position, we're going to fall flat. That is true. So it's easy to talk, but it's very hard to do. So, and the aspect of churches and religious institutions, I've always believed that we are still in a civilization. We are still growing politically, democratically. We are still growing. We are still a young nation. We're actually 50 years at age as we speak. Many of the countries that we look up to are actually countries that have had over 200 years of civilization. So we are still infants in terms of democracy. Back to our discussion, and I would really wish if we could go back to what brought us here. We are to discuss about public participation and the details of public participation. And there's a good question that Mark Massa, you asked, and also Fanya Mambo also asked the same question. You actually asked the question whereby, where can public participation actually start? And Fanya Mambo actually say that we are the people to set the agenda. We all know the principles of what public participation is all about. We know the reasons and the pillars of public participation. And we know that this government and the politicians have actually taken advantage because they have actually abused what public participation is all about. We as Kenyans, how can we take back our right? How can we take back, how can we set the agenda for this nation? And we know that Gen Z desired or attempted to set the agenda. But we know how it all went. We know what came after when the Gen Z tried setting the agenda to this nation. But how can we set the agenda without these other things coming on board? The abductions, the killings, the threats, and all that, as Kenyans, because we said that we are the people, Fanyamambo said that as Kenyans, we are the ones who bear the highest what? The highest office. If it is true that we bear the highest office, why is it then at the end of the day, the person that we have employed is the one that is controlling or pulling up the shots? So what is wrong? Do we need an amendment on how public participation should be done? And how should a public participation should be carried out? And what are some of the areas that are there that public participation should actually cater or do not cater for? Because we have areas like where MPs are able to raise their salaries. Why are we not consulted as Kenyans in regard to raising salaries for MPs? There are so many issues that is happening in this country. The bills are back. Yesterday I was saying how the taxes are being raised. And where is the aspect of public participation in all this? And how can we bring that sobriety back? Thank you.
Pasik, before you respond, this young man has had the mic for quite some time. Takuja upande wenu pia.
Viva comrades, viva. Viva comrades, viva. So, my name is Collins. I'm a community journalist, but I want to talk about one very controversial issue about the religious leaders, yeah? So I'll go against one of my friends who is Sefusani, and she said that the religious leaders, yes, have a critical role to play in terms of politics and everything, yeah? But personally, I feel like when it comes to politics and matters governance, even religion should not be also involved, you know? It should even not come anywhere close in terms of matter governance. The role of the church is mostly, and the religion is to preach to people, you understand? When it comes to governance, it's a very different issue, yeah? It matters socialism and how people relate to each other. Because if religion was supposed to be involved and talk about every other issue, they could have also, sorry, but the OCM could also have come for that guy who said like Gen Z at over 5,000 people. Did I see like their religion come out with a statement? No. You know, they didn't come out with a statement. The only people who came out with a statement at that particular time was the political party. So which shows that political parties have a very crucial role to play more than even the religious organizations and everything. Secondly, about public participation. Kasmo, you said you talked to Baba, but clearly the advice you gave Baba did not work. So that means, yeah, you talked to him about the Adani issue, but clearly it didn't work out because he came out also to support the Adani issue.
You see, it's just the way I will have this discussion with Sheikh, for example.
Yeah.
He'll still go back home a Muslim, I'll still go back home a Christian.
Yeah.
But there's some headway which we've made.
Yeah.
Also remember, how many times have I met Baba? I feel like there's a frustration that people are taking out to me, but it's because I'm the person you can access. Yes, I'm the one you can. I'm the one you can access.
I want to say Habib Omar told you about the issue about a man having or somebody having their own ideology.
Right.
If your ideology did not go with Baba, I expected you then to fall out.
Remember, that's only one part. My ideology and Baba's ziko hivi. That's why I said I did an analysis. I'm looking at democracy, I'm looking at social justice, which are also, if you go to that website, it's the same way, munasema na hivyo ndio watu wengine wanaingia, for example, PNU, wengine wanaingia TNA, wengine wanaingia UDA. If I disagree with a person on one thing, and I agree with them on 90,
all right.
It's okay. It's okay. I wanted now to give my comments about public participation. Yeah, public participation, and in terms of why I wanted to separate it, also in terms of religion. Because if you look at the DADCO, I've been to mandamanos, not only for Gen Z, as a Baba. Considering that I'm also a journalist, I must go pale to cover the nini. Hizo maandamano za Baba 2023 maandamano Mondays, they were popular maandamano Mondays, which brought the NADCO. But when they went to discuss the NADCO, what were added were more seats. Ukiangalia even to the IEBC, they added 2 seats. And those 2 seats, if they were concerned about the youth people, the role of the IEBC mostly is to protect the votes of the people. I wish on those particular NADCO, they added a Gen Z to protect our votes. But they added a religious leader, other religious leaders. How many religious leaders are we going to add there? Are we going to add a Christian one, a Muslim one, Indian one, another one, Wadinigani, you understand? So, on this particular issue about religious and political parties, we need to separate the two, and you need to put them far apart.
Let me give an opportunity to the ladies.
Thank you so much. My name is Lydia Karancha. I'm a gender activist from Dandora Community Justice Center. Now mine is, we are talking about the people. Article 1 of the Constitution says the sovereign power belongs to the people. Now, us as the people, do we know our power? Do we still have that power? And if we don't have that power, this is something all of us here should ask ourselves. If you don't have that power, you're going to take it back to where we are. Because right now in Kenya, we had a lot of time wasting pitching Gachagua. But women have been killing. We have been killed. Every day tunauliwa. Hata tumeka hapa, we are still going home. We really don't know what is next. But you don't see any issue with it. You see maybe right now we have SHA. Do you know, like, there's no proper transition from shift to SHA? Because right now you are going to use another, say NHF is not working. So if you go to an OSIPTO, you are going to get a lot of problem shifting into SHA. Now coming back to this public participation. In where I come from, in Embakasi North, we usually have that public participation, but my MP make it private participation because he decides who comes to that public participation. Now my question is here and right now. And then I remember when we were introducing SHA, it went from the charter hall. Sindio? Ama mulianzia huko kwenu. Yetu ilianza charter hall, where CHPs were doing the public participation for us. But now what is this public participation? Is it coming from the community side? Because I can't be in Dandora, you are in town, passing things for me in Dandora when I'm not really involved. So for me, I could say, are we still having that power? Because the MP have been going to parliament saying Gachagua must go, Ruto must go. What do we really want? Is this the system we really want? So my aim could be, we are still going back to the drawing board. All of us must own our power. And then we have to, again, unite and collaborate to it. And then also on the principles of public participation, transparency, accountability, empowerment. The problem we have in this country, I remember when Ruto was coming in, he said, Ntainua hustlers. Who are these hustlers he was talking about? The common mwananchi. Right now, we go take 500 shillings, and then I'll kill this lady because of 500 shillings. Now, where is the problem? For me, I'm always articulating about Article 43 of the Constitution, right to better healthcare system, right to housing, access to water and sanitation. That's where our problem is. Let me tell you, if in Dandora I can access all those things, I'll come to my MP and tell him whatever you are doing is not right. But because he knows how to manipulate my rights, and then whatever he's giving me, I'm saying it's as a privilege. I cannot control water. Now my question goes back. Do you have control over your power? Because if you cannot be seated here, we have affordable housing going on. And then what is our educational system, right? Because right now we cannot afford to go to university and colleges. We cannot. So that's where the problem is. For me, I can really say we are really trying to take our power back, but we are still not there. Because those MPs, they are still in parliament. Right. And then our problem are still there. Thank you.
All right. Mpewe alikuwa anataka kuzungumza pia ama uko umeridhika?
Viva comrades, viva. Ama jinsi comrades. Viva comrades, viva. When my comrade was talking, Lydia here, alini changamsha to just bring a point on public participation on, I feel like borrowing from the words of Kwamboka, we've been ticking boxes. And this is because tukifanya hizi public participation, hizi documents zinakuanga kubwa. Na zikiletwa, they are very ambiguous, very big English. Na watu wanafaa kufanya hii public participation ni mama mboga. Wale vijana wanakanga kwa base and alafu si tumesikia about our system of education sahi. Hatujafika hizo English kubwa zenye wanasema. So it is usually very hard for us to digest this kind of languages that they use. And then leo ndio public participation. Hii document imeletwa asubuhi saa 2, public participation inaanza 8:30. Mnaenda kudiscuss nini? You don't even know what is in that document actually. Ama mtakuja tu mmeambiwa one specific thing enye wanaona we want them to talk about this so that hizi zingine zote you don't talk about. Kesho mkishtuka mkiamka mlipitisha sha. Because you actually didn't go through this document properly. So na feel ile trajectory enye public participation imekuwa ikitake in this country is wrong. And atuja put the government into account to also do their own homework. Wanaendanga kufanya revision on this public participation? No. Does it ever make sense on zile nini zenye tumepatiana after the public participation? For instance, enye ilitupeleka to the streets about the finance bill 2024. There is nothing that enye walichukulia tilia maanani at all. So inakuanga how kusema, because it is constitutional in our country to lead a public participation, ilifanywa, the funds that were set aside zilitumika, that is all they do. For them, that is a record kept that this was done. But ikifika kwetu sisi, there is nothing that we said, that we passed, that they actually put into consideration. So unless they take a different trajectory that is vertical, that is pro-people, that listens to what the people says, which is actually what should be about public participation. Unless you take that trajectory, public participation ni stories za jaba.
Kwa sababu anataka kuuliza to this what she says.
Okay.
Mpeo mic tafadhali.
It's not even to what she said, but to what a gentleman there said. And it's for all of us here. When you speak of the Catholic Church, they run 7,740 schools, which are supposed to receive capitation from government. These people run 69 hospitals, big hospitals, 451 health centers, 14 medical training institutions, 251 dispensaries. So SHIF and SHA is doing them improperly. And it affects them where it hurts, because they have treated people and monies have not been paid to those hospitals. It is hard to separate state and government when things like this happen, and church, because church is also playing a state role in helping to provide health and education. These people provide 31% of the learning institutions. If the Catholic Church was to close her institution, 31% of the children in school would not go to school. So do they still keep quiet when government is not giving capitation to schools? Do they still keep quiet when government is not paying for medical services? I think these are questions we need to ask ourselves.
Basi, acha nipea the two ladies and then that gentleman, alafu nikuje kwako ni comment.
Viva comrades, viva. My name is Miru Wanjiru from Activism, which is a youth-led movement. And at a point, we have shared a platform at Campus Me Too with Casmuel. Yes, and the first thing I want to talk about, why are we crucifying him? Like, he's just one person. We are how many young people? We can make our choices. Why is it we as Kenyans love delegating? Mpaka kuenda kwa street na kuongelelewa tunataka kudelegate na tumeshaona our leaders hawafanyi kazi mzuri. Casmuel, endelea kufanya kenye unafanya. Another thing is, when it comes to public participation, hey, I'm going to be the devil's advocate. Saizi ndo tumeanza kuona uchungu because we have not been going to public participation. There are people who here have never gone to public participation. I don't work for the government and I'm not paid by the government. But I want to categorically say public participation has been working. And one of the things that I can categorically say it worked. In 2023, there was a finance bill in Nairobi County. It was punitive. I mobilized young people, and some of the things we recommended, zili change. Na zili change ni kwa sababu we mobilized. See, we know the government mobilized. We mobilized against the same government. We mobilized the media and stood ground, and we said there are some of the things here, we don't want them to happen. So yes, I know it's not working, and sometimes it's a rubber stamping affair. Lakini when we say things are not working, it's a narrative we are continuing to drive. If it's not working, hata ule mse aje enda public participation, atatokea. Kwa sababu anajua haifanyi, and yet here when we were asked if we have gone to public participation, tulichukua mkono, si ndio? When we went to public participation, were we meaningfully involved? There was a time around the same time ya finance bill, hiyo ya 20, tulitoa vurugu, walikuwa wamekataa kuleta documents, tukawaambia haianzi mpaka iwalete, and they brought those documents. So it's up to us to hold our ground. And another thing, she said a very important bit, they bring very technical documents, but we rather have those technical documents rather than have the government summarized document. That time for the Nairobi finance bill, they had a 72-pager yenye ilikuwa fully inaongelelea kwenye watatoa pesa. And then they had an 18-pager yenye ilikuwa inasafisha maneno ya government. So if you read the summarized one, so unasema kitu iko sawa. So we as Kenyans, let's be active citizens and do our role. Chukua your document, soma kabisa, kufa nayo. Mi na Habib tunakanga hata online usiku going through these documents because it matters. Because the minute tunasema, oh, government leteni simplified version, they're going to do that. Na wataleta vitu zenye tunataka. Tena, oh, kidogo government, yes, I know sometimes you need the physical document, but kusema ukweli, wanekanga hizi document hata 1 month before online, si ndio? Si tuko na bundles, tuko na TikTok. Nini? What else? What else do we really need? Because if you tell them to simplify, wanna simplify in a way that inatuumiza. So it's up to us to organize ourselves in such a way that we go to those spaces, you're well informed. Mimi saa hizi Embakasi South, hawatakangi hata, ni North ama South? Ni North. Hawatakangi kuniona, because the minute nimeguza hivi mic, wanajua msichana akuja kuharibu. So what do? Organize na kina Habib, other young people who are fresh blood. Tumesha discuss the document. I don't have to speak for my voice to be heard. Other people have to speak. It's not every time we have to be the one holding the mic. Let's organize and mobilize ourselves in such a way that kila mtu in that room anaweza jiongelelea. Ni sawa? Na tuache kupe the progressive young people that burden of carrying the voice of young people. Because Kasmal ameshachagua ameenda ODM. Let's support him. Because I saw me, the only problem I had with you, your square bombers, is you didn't speak against Kebaso being ruffled up. But everything else, but everything else,
I'm not interrupting you. I just want to, because you've raised a very important point. Niliona hiyo kitu online. I was not there when it happened. But
you
because someone who was...
Yeah,
no, I didn't.
Yeah, you spoke, okay.
It's because someone who sees it online, you see the clips together, so it feels like I wasn't there.
Yes, that was the only problem I had.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that for you.
But everything you did that day, because the agenda of that day was impeachment, it was not about Ruto going. And it's up to Kenyans. Shida ijaanza kutugonga saizi. Shida ilianza kutugonga na Uhuru. And people are not speaking. The reason why currently we are in economic crisis, things started kutupiga time ya Uhuru. So why are we not getting to the root cause? Uliona Embu, people walikuwa na mklapia. Sai I saw someone anaenda kupata PhD, akisema neza taka, nani arudi tena, mpaka niko like, don't you remember we were saying maliza uende? Why do we forget? Why is it that we as Kenyans have a very short memory? Saizi, we are applauding people who are the root cause of why we are here today. But kila time. But thank you so much for this opportunity.
Asante sana, mpe makofi. Nakuja kwako, I'll give her and then you and then Devi. Usiogope, mtapata mic pia. Just to also point out on the poll that we put out there, have you ever attended a public participation forum? 57 votes have come in and 58% have not. 42% have in those who have responded. Your comment or question and then you.
Okay.
Yes, you're audible.
Perfect. Now, two things. Let me preface this by saying, my name is Queen Kivuva. I'm a student at the University of Nairobi School of Law, but I'm also a member of Activista. I am going to say two things. One, I think we've all been actively engaged in public participation, even when we move it to another forum. I think many of us can recall about 2 weeks ago, the clerk of the Senate actually declared that the email was overflooded and was not taking any more of our responses, right? That's a form of public participation. We're participating in a different fora, right? This is the fora that is ours. This is the fora that we have declared to be native to us. So we're participating in that extent. Now, I'd want to say this. When you look at Article 113 and Article 114, read alongside each other, of course, speaks to public participation, speaks to transparency, speaks to accountability, but it doesn't clearly delineate what particular threshold is required of Parliament to facilitate public access and public participation, which is where I think we should then hinge all our efforts to, right? So what do we as citizens in this social contract with our government declare them to hold for us? What is it that we need them to do in terms of public access and public participation? Do we want them to, say for instance, do we want to sit in the plenary? Do we want to sit in the committee stage? What is it that we want? Do we want to send our own representatives there? Could we have tentative goalposts that we want to achieve and succeed? Because I feel like we keep moving that goalpost and it's not doing anything. So can we sit down? Can we declare what we want tentatively? And can we move towards that, right? We have people in this room. We have intellectuals in this room. We have people that are intelligent. We have eloquent people, right? We have people that have the resources, right? I think we can mobilize that, right? You can get that going. So I really don't think we are speaking from a point of scarcity, and I would want to commend you for that. So how do we bring together all these resources that we have, yeah? Yeah, I think that is it. I don't know if I missed anything.
Thank you for that, the gentleman there. And then, David, ulikuwa bado na comment ama imejibiwa? Alafu tutakuja hapa spread out the room. Mtapata opportunity, msiogope.
So, good evening everyone. My name is Brian, and today I'm a happy man. Why? I was just seated here seeing my former lecturer saying wame strike na ako hapa na mimi. And again, I'm happy tena juu nimegundua kuna mtu wa UN School of Law. I was there some 4 years ago. So alumni ngoja kiti ya mawe ndo alete hapo. So now, this is the thing. I'll touch on 4 things briefly. Public participation. So it was said that national interests supersedes public interest. To quote the current DP, because I've never quoted him before. Now, this is the thing. Which are these national interests that are not rooted on public interest? That's the thing. Now, we are having a poll question there, and I'm a victim. I don't usually attend them. Why? Me, I always pick my fights carefully. Why do I come negotiate with you when I know the person who's going to give me whatever I want is this person? So I go to that person. I don't waste my time with you. Now, this is the thing. If I go there and I know that my voice won't count, I'm actually helping them rubber stamp whatever they want to do. So I don't see the need to go there. And beside that, these people actually craft these things in a way that they only want to conform to the dictates of the Constitution, which tells them that they have to do public participation. It's not that. It's there. In Kenya, we have rituals. Hakuna public participation. Ziko tu. Tufanye haraka because hii na hii inatakikana hivi, inatakikana tufanye hivi, tufanye twende. That's what's there. Now my question to our lawyer there. He's my senior, I know. Now, this is the thing. When we elect MPs, they go there to represent us. It's our views they take there. Can't we have a way in which we can veto their decision-making there so that tukidecide, let's say for example, Gachagua anafaa ende. Mimi kama area resident wake nikimwambia ende useme asiende. Asiende huko and then a change aweke interest yake aseme aende. You see, because akifanya hivyo, then it means hata kuwa nani represent, and I sent them there to go and represent myself. No. So we need to craft a way in which we can veto some decisions those people make. So that tukimwambia hendo ufanye hivi, atafanya hivyo, asipofanya, then we have a way to get back to them. Then lastly, on religion, church should not be like involved in politics and stuff. Me, I ask myself, who is the church? Are they not citizens? Political issues, are they not affecting them? there. So they equally have to be there and they have to decide. And then lastly, to my friend Samuel, I'm happy today I'm seeing you for the first time not running. You're seated. So I only have 2 issues to either put to you in forms of questions. Now, you said you have your independent mind and you joining ODM will not affect whatever interest you had on the very first. I want to believe you. But again, I want to put it to you. Are you aware that political parties whip their members to vote certain things in a certain way? And lastly, now that you're there, and we are proud of you, do your thing. We have a broad-based government in which ODM gave out some of his members to join the government. Whatever you call it. Can you make accountable that which you are part of? Thank you.
All right. Hilo swali nataka mwanzo fanya mambo ajibu.
I'll have a very quick response to you. If you looked at Thursday's newspaper, kichwa yangu inanisumbuanga. I have already filed a very serious case in court. It was on Thursday's newspaper. And in that case, we are seeking to have a referendum. We want the court to give us permission to have a referendum for Kenyans to decide whether they want President Ruto to continue being president or not to continue being president. So we've moved back to Article 1 of our Constitution, and we've actually been given a mention date for 10th of February next year. I wish it was earlier. But what we wanted was to just have the court hear us and give a ruling and say that we elected you to do this. Okay, those who elected him. But what you are doing is different. Yeah. And so therefore we want to recall you. And we are hoping we can have a referendum next year. So it's not just all talk. And that's why I say for some of us, even those petitions sometimes, because we are together with a few people, nilo neno ambia akili wewe weka tu pesa yako itatafutwa later. And I have 4 cases where hata nadaiwa na mawakili. At least this one there were some partners who helped. I don't even know where that money went and how. But mimi niko na madeni za mawakili. I'm just trying to explain to you what some of us do without necessarily putting out pay bills. I go and tell, I have 4 cases, I can give you the case numbers. I just go and tell advocates, weka hii deni tutalipa pole pole. And from my little hustle here and there, we have been paying advocates to help us to continue fighting this fight. This is what we mean when we say, I'm a living sacrifice for my country. And I want us to get there. So I hope that answers you, that even if our MPs are not doing, if I cannot hold the 290 MPs accountable, na kuna watu Nyeri washaakota 40,000 signatures, na wamesema ile IBC ilipitisha Kithure Kindiki, ipitishe hii. Msimulisema iko sawa na imepitisha Kithure Kindiki, ipitishe hii, same way. Na declare hii kiti vacant same way. Because it was good enough for Kindiki, it should be good enough for the signatures that have been collected in Nyeri. Is it, I think it's Mathira constituency. So let's do it. Najua hata za Mashukuru signatures zimeshaja. Kitu wanangoja tu ni IBC. But now we've discovered we don't even need to wait. We just need to go to court and tell them, by the way, when the president was reading his order, he said, having duly consulted IBC and having been cleared by IBC, that IBC that cleared Kindiki is good to declare the others, and yeah, so we are good to go.
Pasi, real quick.
Thank you. Let me start by saying, this country has brilliant minds. That's not our problem. What we need is good people. People who have a heart for this country. When I went to the streets, I was surprised that many of the young people I found on the streets were members of church. So it means there's something that we are saying and doing that is actually working. My biggest disappointment is that we begin to feel like if we go back to the system, it will work for us. 20, 30 years ago, some of those guys you are really, really upset with were young people passionate about governance and transformation as they were. They did not see it fit to actually stop the bus and say, but what bus is mame. And that's what the young people were able to do at the beginning of, in the middle of this year, to say, stop the bus. We cannot go on like this. The moment we
try to fit into a system. They say power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. The battles he's facing is because there are systems that are there that will swallow the best of minds. And I've seen this happen because I've been around long enough. I've seen brilliant people, brilliant lawyers, brilliant strategists get into political office and just dump down. Because there's a system that wants you not to say what needs to be said. We need to sit back and say, if we're going to make a change in this country,
right,
we have to step into the murky waters and not follow the vehicles that were there, because those vehicles will swallow you and spit you out useless. And that's the thing that we need to step into. Secondly, the voice of the church is very key. And that is why the politician will keep knocking doors. Even when they are at loggerheads with the church leaders, they will still come back. Whether through the money or through coercion or through a bill that they want to gag the church with, they go for the church. Because there's a voice that they come for. There's a voice that they come for. That's why the Council of Imams is consulted on many things. In as much as the populace of the Muslims is a minority, they know that when they speak, they represent even Christians. When the Hindu speaks, even when the Catholic speaks, and thank you that you mentioned that. And I love that the churches have done a lot of work. But one of the failures of the church is that we've taken the role of the government to build schools with the tithe, when the government is taking 30–40% of our taxes and doing nothing with it, and we're not telling them, fix this. And I think it's a high time we stood up and said, yes, we are doing the schools. That is our community service, but this is your responsibility as the government. Call them to task on every matter integrity. By the time he's going out on the street, I as his pastor should not be sitting back there and saying, vijana wamechangamka. I should be at the forefront telling him, what do you need? If he's going to go to prison, it's for us to go up and say, that is our member. And I think when we begin to walk like that and work like that and put systems in place that check, I love that you're saying, you know what, we need to go and do, a referendum. But we need to be able to put a system in place that at any given point, if people in Dandora stand up and say, our MP is not representing us, they can recall him. If it's the governor, whoever it is, we need to be able to, because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Even if you took any one of us, even Casmuel, if you give him the power that is in this country, you'll be surprised at what it will do to him. Not because he's a bad man, but because it's absolute. And the human soul cannot handle absolute power. So we need to put checks and measures. And I pray that we will not step back and look for positions, but rather step back and fix those gaps. Because anyone you put in there will be messed up.
Daktari naona mkono, lakini nitawapa fursa ya kupa the closing remarks at the end. Let's give our audience here, and please keep it short because we have you two, then you, and the lady, the gentleman, and this lady and the gentleman here. Tafadhal, because we were meant to wrap up at this time, lakini nitawapa fursa.
Okay, thank you. I'm Michael Diado, a researcher, majorly dealing with policy. I think the major reflection point for us was the finance bill. But in terms of if we truly reflect us as Kenyans, we truly personalize our politics. That's why if Panyamambo tomorrow decides to join UDA, you'll be disappointed. Or Casmuel, as people are attacking him, joining ODM, he'll feel very attacked. We should strive to build systems, not individuals. Even the person you're quoting, Sankara, right now Burkina Faso is under coup. Are there citizens in Burkina Faso who can remember Sankara apart from the Pan-Africanist idealists? We should strive to create institutions that can last beyond the individual. And then the fact that what I think for us is the major problem is that we have a constitution, but we have a ruling class that is not fit for this constitution. If you look at the ruling class, for example, the people who are born are, Kindiki is the youngest currently, I find out he's 1970. Now, Casmuel has joined ODM, you have the likes of Sifuna, you have Panyamambo. Can you, if someone like Kindiki is currently the VP. How many years has he taken for him to rise to that occasion? So for us young people, we must first identify, we must first recognize that this is work. And I think this is what people don't want to do. When UDA was swallowing the other parties, people are not talking. Like Mary has said, we only talk when we feel our pockets have been pinched. Even the church, people are not saying the church is not an active participant in the state. The church only talks when it has been pinched. The only occasion that the church has been there, the citizens have been congratulating them. People congratulated Jamia for what they did in the 25th. It's not that people have an issue with the church or the mosque. But you see, even in the same Islam, we have the likes of Kinadwale, what's happening in northeastern counties. Are they speaking up? They are not speaking up. That is what the hypocrisy we are trying to avoid. And let us try as much as possible not to personalize individuals. This session should not be about Kasmuel. It should not be about ODM. It should be about her South Kenya taking the power back. Thank you.
Asante sana for that, sir.
Yeah, so for mine it will be few. My name is Stefano Otieno. I'm a community organizer at Kariobangi. I come from Embakasi North. And the right question was, is it public participation working or not? For me, I have a mixed reaction. For county government, I think public participation is really working, mostly from the formulation of the CIDP in Nairobi County. And also I've done a cross-check in Makueni during the leadership of Kivuta Kibwana. Public participation was really working. The contrary opinion where I disagree is when in the national government, that's where we have a challenge. Anything that's being passed by the national government, that's where the public participation is not being accounted for. So we need to ask our question, why is it the public participation in the county government is working and for the national government is not working? For us to make sure that the public participation works, we need to, these sideshows of Alpha and Omega, we need to stop. We need to create more leaders. We need to empower the community so that at least, because I've realized if you speak too much, you'll be targeted. And that's what Kasmuel is facing. Because I believe if we have more leaders, nobody should speak for ourselves, for us. We should speak for ourselves alone. Because the reason why we see people being targeted, people being, we lose focus, is because we want to see, why is it Kasmuel in ODM? ODM is a political party. Why is it, if I want to join UDA, I will join UDA. Just we have a right to choose a political party. And then finally, let's try to build this nation, whereby we support, if we see something wrong, the churches are doing an amazing job. If they see something wrong, let them speak. Even if you see something wrong, also speak out. Don't be silent, because at the end of the day, we are here to make this change. Thank you.
Asante sana to the lady, and thank you for addressing that issue on geographical representation and participation in the counties, bringing out that point. Asante.
Hello, my name is Georgina Mweni, and I'm here to speak about public participation, whether it is working or not working. And from my opinion, public participation nowadays is just a formality. It has become a formality. It is being done just for the sake. The same way some companies are putting out their advertisement for jobs and they have already gotten the applicants out there, the employees. Yeah. So it's being done the same way in this country. Like sioni venye we are told about public participation a day before. How do they expect people to know about it? They haven't even posted on social media, some of them. Ama unakuja kuambushiwa asubuhi kuna public participation, especially huku chini zenye zinahusu our MCAs. Ile ya now the same leaders ndio wanatuma goons kukuja kudisrupt. Sasa wanapaswa kutusaidia ama wanakuja kuvuruga, hakuna kitu itaendelea. Then wakishatoka hapo everything imepitishwa. Bomas, you saw what happened. The same things happen huku kwa grassroots. Watu hata wako aware. So it's upon us to rise, speak, and also from the religious perspective. I think politics should be kept away from the church. These leaders bring lies in the church, and they put lies in the minds of the people. The older generation wanna believe whatever they are told by these politicians in the church. Wanatuletea pesa. Huyu mimi niko na akili ya kuelewa, but yule mzee pale ameletewa mshosho, ataona na bado ako na right ya kwenda kuvote. Amekuja amedanganywa na 5 million. Yeye kwake anaona 5 million ni pesa mingi. Ati huyu ndiye atakuwa amekuja ametusaidia kubuild church, tutakuwa tunafanya hivi. Kitu yenye ataambiwa hapo na huyo political leader, sitaki kumtaja, but atasema tu that's a right thing to do. Huyo ndio tunaanguka naye. Yeye ndio tunaenda kuvote. Hao wengine si a matter of the youth pia. Regarding the political parties, I don't know whether to say mtu anapaswa kubelong ama hapasi kubelong. Juu somewhere finance bill inapitishwa lini. I had my MP ati anasema yeye alivote yes ati juu ya political party. Ati party yenye yeye alikuwa wote mnaenda ati kitu yote ni ushago, kitu yote inapitishwa Nairobi. Yeye anawaambia tu hivyo. Na mko kwa mkutano kila mtu ako hapo anasema everything inapitishwa huko Nairobi. Kwa party hakuna venye utaenda against your party. No. So I kept wondering, is it a must to belong to hapo hiyo party? And the same way ukibelong hapo ukichoose kwenda against them bado utatolewa.
Asante.
Ama we should be independent. Thank you.
Asante. Tumpe huyo fursa, alafu huyu binti hapa, kaka yule, wewe, ushaongea, alafu huyu na huyu. Tafadhali tupeane fairness here.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Michael Omondi from Dandora Community Justice Center. And in the spirit of
Shikilie vizuri ndo tukusikie.
In the spirit of reflecting on citizens' participation in politics, government and policy, I have 2 questions to pose to everyone. On 10th July 2024, the president signed, what was it? The reconstitution of the IEBC. Till now, it has not happened. And when the broad-based government was formed, the by-elections that are needed rose to 11, both the county assembly and the parliament. So what is really happening? What is going on? Because as it stands, there's nothing we know. Because he just signed and everything. Now what we are seeing is smoke screens too. Hakuna kitu ingine, facade, impeachment, nini.
La pili, swali la pili.
Swali la pili ni recalling of MPs. What can we do to recall MPs? Because as it stands, it is very hard to recall an MP compared to impeaching a deputy president or a president. It is very easy. We saw. Tuliona kutoa president kwa kiti ni rahisi sana ama deputy, lakini MP process MP ni refu sana. I wish tuongelee hiyo kidogo.
Kaka? Labda mmoja wa panelists anaweza jibu hiyo swali in their closing remarks.
Thank you very much. My good name is Wanjohi Njoroge, a student leader in Kenyatta University. First question comes from this gentleman. He's asking you whether we can put legal frameworks to guide the public participation. How can we ensure the public participation is effective, like the one we did? Can we have measures to all parameters or indicators that can show whether it was effective or not? And if it was not effective, who to be punished?
Quick answer. That would have to go to Parliament. They would have to make an act of Parliament regulating public participation. It would have to go to them.
Asante. Really quick. I want to give everyone else an opportunity to raise hands.
Okay. Mine, Kasmel, how are you? This is a war. As a generation, every generation have a particular war that they have to fight. There are those who fought for multipartyism, there are those who fought for independence, and us, we somehow fighting for integrity. And we have to leave others and soldier on with those who cannot sell their souls, right? We have a good example of Panyamambo. We should, I think the good solution is to form a political party based on ideologies. Because the other political parties that we have, you must align with the agendas, right? And like Casmuel, we had, before you came, we were listening to Sifuna, and he was really appeasing us. But right now, when this bread government came in, he evaporated to the thin air. We cannot no longer see him. And you are not any better or more talented than them. So we are not expecting any much from your end. So we must soldier on. Other people must come up, join Kinafanya Mambo, and all of us, we soldier on na hii safari ya integrity. Thank you very much.
Mpe kaka ambaye amevaa kofia hapo nyuma ya Caswell, alafu huyu mwanadada, alafu hapa na hapa.
Habari zenyu. Mimi naitwa Brian Omtianga Ondeche na nimetoka coach. Na mimi chenye nasema sometimes unajipata uko mtaani, si ndio? Out of 5 people mmekaa base, ndio? Maybe one person is ako na ideas, ako grounded, si ndio? The 4 they are not grounded. Maybe 3 wako grounded. One person ako grounded, but 4 amechukua politics kama njia ya kupata do, si ndio? So for me I feel like sometimes tunakuwa na hizo conversation mtaani, the public participation about politics and governance. But of course it becomes difficult like niko kwa congregation, niko based na wase wengi hivi, si ndio? It becomes difficult sometimes educating someone mwenye ana ideas, you get. So for me I feel like the youths wanahitaji, they need this education more often, not just once, more often. Na unaenda with na pace yao, usiharakishe. You come with simple English, simple ideas. With time, they will get what a grasp. Like kama hiyo maandamano ilikuwa Gen Z about rejecting finance bill. Those people who are used to argue with kwa mtaa, unapata that some walikuja wakasema vitu unasemanga yenyewe ni ukweli. You get. So people are very different, especially mtaani. These conversations zinafaa kuanzia kwa grassroots. On the issue of church, mimi nitasema hivi. Church, not church, but the religious platforms. It is a good platform to mobilize the masses. Number 1, I will say that. Even wakina Elijah, the time that walikuwa, you find out that they used to tell the truth to these leaders who are in power. Also, the church can be a good opium to mobilize the masses. You get, to educate the masses. Because I'm telling you that 2022 ilikuwa platform nzuri sana. Because watu walisema wamebatizwa, watu wakasema that hiyo ndio ilikuwa platform nzuri. Because the church has the numbers. The religious platforms have the numbers. Na nakwambia, if we will not use the church wisely, or the Islam wisely, yes, utapata that we will be lost. You get?
Asante.
Just ya mwisho tu, the last public participation ilifanyika yenye wanasema Bomas. I was there. I'm telling you, the mass that was there ilikuwa mass yenye ilikuwa imelipwa 500 shillings. You get?
Ila wewe tu.
Wait, you see? The mass yenye ilikuwa pale ilikuwa imelipwa. You get? So usitoe maneno kwa mdomo.
Sijasema, mimi nasema tu ila wewe nakusaidia.
So hapa mtu anapigania kama mimi sahi nafaa nilipe rent, si ndio? Nitaenda public participation ama nitalipa rent. Then 500 shillings iko hapa katikati. You get? So hiyo stajibu.
Semi ulilipwa, nasema.
Yeah. You get?
I think the point you were making
napata point
is
yako.
Yeah, kwamba kuna wengi ambao walikuwa wamelipwa.
Yeah. Napata point yako. You get? So that is the question. The question mark iko hapa. Na Samuel amesema 500 kuna materials ziko hapa mtu anahitaji. You get? So that is the question mark. Lazima tujibu such critical questions.
Asante. Na nakubaliana nawe, unaweza mpo binti Mike, alafu nikuje kwako tukimalizia ili nipe my panel. Ile sijakubaliana tu ni ukisema a good opium. Hiyo si uko sure kama iko. On a good note. Kuchezea.
So good evening. My name is Sylvia Uko. I am a community paralegal and I also have a CBO pale mtaani. So for me, I also want to be a devil's advocate today. One, SHA ilikuwa na public participation. It was there. So for us, we ride, ata politicians wamejua, they ride on our ignorance. We don't take our time kujua hizi vitu, because for me, I support your SHA shift 40-60%. One, the reason I support is because it brings health equity. Because unaona in kila mtu anafaa kutoa 2.7? I stand to be corrected. 2.7 kwa unakatwa. So I believe ukicompare na NHIF, whereby mwenye analipwa 1 million anatoa kitu kama 1,500. But you see, in the shift, you're supposed to contribute 2.7% of your salary. So that is why I support shift. So ukiwa na knowledge, just trickle it down to your fellow youths. Ukiwa pale base, if you're running a CBO, just do it. Tuache ku ride on ignorance, because maybe my friend is against it. I should be against it. Just try and research and everything.
Know it for yourself. Asante for that.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Violet Achieng. Good evening, everyone. My name is Violet Achieng. I won't call myself an activist, but I'm just a frustrated Kenyan citizen. The other day, I saw an interesting tweet. Someone tweeted something funny, but the person said that in Kenya or in Africa, we tend to take our frustrations or our public participation to God instead of our leaders. Let me kind of link it to what we are talking about right now. Right now, if you call your parent, umulize, Mom, unaonaje hii serikali ya Ruto? What will she or he say? Tuachie Mungu. Tuachie Mungu. Like, I feel as if the bad governance in Africa or in Kenya has made us turn our public participation to God instead of facing our leaders themselves. You see? Like, for example, right now, instead of going to the county, to the halls or saying that SHA is bad or Adani is bad, we are going to say that, oh Mungu, tunaomba Adani aende. Tunaomba SHA isiwekwe, isipite, instead of telling our leaders that that thing is bad or we don't want it. Yeah, that is my...
Asante sana. Not to delegate all that to just God, so to speak.
Habari zenu. Mimi naitwa Cyprian Onyango, natoka Makadara. Mimi ni mtetezi. Niko tu na maoni. Ile maoni mimi naona mambo ya public participation, mimi nimeparticipate pale kwetu Lumumba mara kadhaa. Na kuna siku kiongozi wetu aliingia hapo MCA. Watu walijaa, mpaka nje watu walijaa. Kabla public participation ianze, kiongozi vile aliamka kutoka, kila mtu alitoka akaenda. Tulibaki watu kidogo sana. Na sisi watu kidogo wale tulibaki tu tunaelewa hata nini inaendelea. Juu zile vitabu tuliletewa zilikuwa kubwa, kizungu ilikuwa mingi sana. So mimi ile tunaweza sema pengine sisi wa Afrika hii system tunatumia ile pengine ni ya wazungu na bado iko strange to us. Kwa sababu hii crowd tuko hapa saa hii nikiangalia shosho wangu angekuwa hapa tangu hii meeting yaanze, shosho wangu na assume angeshika kitu yote nisema hapa. Na Kenya tuko na voting power mbili. Tuko na voting power ya wababa. Na hii voting power iko hapa. Na mimi naweza kuambia voting power ya wababa, vijana hao ndio wako na power. So tunafaa tujiulize hii system I work hapa Kenya to redesign system yetu ama namna gani? Kwa sababu tunaweza kuwa tunaongea hapa na tunago into circles. In the next 10 years to have the same conversation. So tujiulize sisi wa Kenya tumeshindwa kuadapt kwa hii system, tujenge system yetu ama to accept tu vitu vile ziko na tuendelee hivyo. Cause mimi na problem, sheria iko, katiba iko, problem ni sisi. Kwa sababu hata wajenzi wana fight, ukiingia kwa Instagram zao zote ni watu pengine wanaishi lifestyle tofauti na ile ya ukwe. So unawanda huyu akiingia kwa uongozi, si hata zile private jet obvious wanalia president ABCD, si hao ndio watakuwa kwanza kuzichukua na So mimi naona problem ni sisi wenyewe. Tujiangalie, na kwa hiyo harakati ya kujiangalia, tuangalie okay, ni aje, ni sheria tubadilishe, ni si wenyewe tubadilike, ama okay, kuna vitu mingi nilikuwa nataka kusema nimesahau zingine, but mimi naona shida ni sisi.
Shida ni sisi. Yeah.
Shida ni sisi. So okay. Na natetemeka na niko na homa, mnisamee. So mimi hata nilikuwa na propose, okay, inaweza sound funny, kama inawezekana hata nyumba 10 na estate leadership wapatiwe pesa ya kutujengea security lights, kutuwekea kabro, tusingoje MCA. Kwa sababu mimi naweza kwa nyumba 10 nibishe, niaje pale kabro ile bulb haifanyi, akwe funded.
Nyumba 10 ni gani?
Okay, mimi nasema like public participation. Sikiza nani? Public participation, sikiza, tukue real. Public participation vile tuna discuss hapa, ile discussion iko hapa, si ati ni kitu ime succeed, ni kama ni kitu already ime fail. Ndio nakwambia descend into circles. So
acha malize point alafu tutakupa fursa. Cyprian, malizia. So
ile discussion tuko na hapa, mimi vile nimesoma rada, public participation ni kama ina fail ama ni kama ime fail, ama wale watu tume-entrust ni kama pia wamefail.
Lakini pia akisema imefail haimaanishi we throw it out and
so nikirudi nyuma
hasemi ni kama public participation does not have a part.
True. So nikirudi nyuma vile nimesema mwanzo, shosho wangu angekuwa hapo, okay, shosho mzungu angekuwa hapa angeelewa kila kitu, but shosho wangu Mwafrika pengine ama bro wangu mwingine ule wa mtaa angeelewa vitu zimesemwa wamesema hapa, na hao ndio wako na voting power. Na ndio wanatuletea wala watu wanatusumbua. Okay, ni vitu mingi naweza.
So, like huyu point yake ilikuwa because she's an advocate for public participation and her concerns were echoed, akasema pia it's actually working. Na pia amesema it actually works. I think what he says is ameanalyze what we have has failed. True. Not to say that we throw it out.
Okay, then tuko na constitution, tuko na katiba, ni vitabu zina vizungu mingi, lakini tuliona power school vijana walichoma nini? Parliament. Ndio moves zilifanywa. So like hiki tu ni story refu, but
yeah, okay. I think it's important, kitu amesema, it reckons with a lot of people, but it's important tujue kazi ya nani ni ya nani. Hatuwezi enda kuuliza nyumba 10 kwa nini stima haijaekwa, because that's where we are delegating the power yetu ya kwenda kuuliza MCA ama kuuliza kwa public participation, kusema ukweli. Na hapo ndio shida. Na something else, as I stated last time that we were here, I didn't want the protest being called Gen Z. Kwa sababu unaona the root cause saizi hata wa leo kila kitu it's a reference to that. And if we go forward, because I know we are going forward, if things continue being the way they are, tutajipata kwa street, haitakuwa staki kwa Gen Z. Nataka kila mtu wa join, because holistically tunaumia sisi wote. Because you remember last time and you convinced me na ukaniambia wacha ibaki Gen Z because people could not have wakupita nayo. But we are seeing the dangers of today. Ilifika place, we wanted to occupy Standard Marathon. Tuliambiwa aje, msiende huko, si ndio? Lakini ingekuwa ni kila mtu ako hapo nje, tuko hapo na tuna nini, kila mtu angekuwa na ile kujua. So it's another thing, I call out to all of us wale tunajua what's happening. Let's start educating ourselves. Kazi MP ni gani, kazi MCA ni gani. Ndio tukua na shida, we know who to tackle the issue.
I get your point as well, is to understand whose duty lies with who so we can hold them accountable. Asante for
Sorry,
that.
just to finish this, to buttress what he has said, it is...
we can hear you, it's clear.
Okay, great. To buttress what he has said, it is true that many of the policies that we have inherited are colonial, and it is in fact true that if your grandmother were in this room, she would not understand. But the very real danger with doing that is that we fall behind on the global economy, right? We're no longer... When you look at the trajectory globalization has taken, for instance, we cannot afford to alienate ourselves and say, you know, English is for English men, right? You can't do that. I mean, just not too long ago, ladies wouldn't wear pants, and I'm here in pants and I'm here in very chunky boots. We can't just throw out the bathwater with the baby. It won't work for us. We need to be in the rooms because that is where the power is. It's structured, yeah, right? You can't make these policies from outside the room. So there's a very real danger in saying that we should abolish all of these things in its entirety. We need to, again, evaluate and see how to implement and to adopt to these policies that are in place.
Thank you for that.
The Bible is translated, so those documents can be translated too.
Just to give you a right to reply, tumemaliza.
My sister, nimesema sheria ziko, katiba iko, shida ni sisi. Pengine hatuelewi. Yes.
Ama tumekataa kuelewa.
Sijasema tusitransform tuvae ngozi ama tuvae sijui nini. Yeah, nimesema kila kitu is in place. No defensiveness.
Tuko pamoja. Shida ni sisi. Tuko pamoja, yani kuelewana, perspective. Usianzishe ingine kati yangu na wewe. Nataka kumpa Abdul Nur Mohammed, ambaye has been a partner and brought this together in terms of the conversation. Sababu kuna utafiti walifanya earlier in the year from this is Civic Voices Initiative, ambao tumepartner na tukaleta this conversation, and thank you for that. Let's give him a hand for that.
I should stand as well. Yeah. Asanteni sana.
So unaweza tupa ile context of the conversation that brought us here, and labda yalo umeona kama recommendations with what we know. Yeah.
So it's very interesting, yeah? So the Civic Voice Project, the reason why we decided to do it is the low turnout of the youth in the last election. It was just very, very low. And this is a global problem. It's even an African problem. And when we consider that 70% of the population is youth, if they don't participate, what does that mean in the future of democracy? However, at the beginning of the year, kitu tulifanya survey. Tulikwenda Mombasa, Kisumu, na hapa Nairobi kuuliza vijana, what are the problems in participation? What's interesting is everything that's in that survey report has been discussed today. It's amazing, because first thing it was structural barriers. Kuna wengine wetu kupata ID card ni shida. So watakwambia siwezi kuparticipate, sina ID. Another thing is information, which you've talked about. Young people don't have the right information to participate. Either, kama kuna mtu wa Mombasa ameniambia inawekwa kwa website for 1 hour, alafu inaondolewa. Kwa hivyo they don't have enough time to engage with the document. The document is technical and complicated. It's too technical and too complicated to ask a young person aende kwenye county to discuss the budget. So the issue here is we probably need a law to say documents need to be given 1 month in advance, and young people can interpret it for themselves. And we saw that with the finance bill. It was beautifully done in a way that everyone could understand so they could participate. And some of the issues you've talked about, like the venue being changed suddenly, that is almost everywhere you go, you ask, it happens. So it's not a flaw in the design. What I'm thinking is that the design, you know? And then there's the economic factor, which is so important. Ukimuuliza vijana Mombasa unakwenda public participation, kitu ya kwanza atakuuliza kuna kakitu. Why am I going? And then think, like you mentioned unemployment, out of this survey group, there are either interns, students, or unemployed. And this economic factor is so important. Mtu akitoa fare yake to go to one place, I find it's been moved to another place. Will he go to that other place? So there's an economic factor here, including in running for elections. So many young people, even in Mombasa, very good people in Kisumu, we put ourselves forward, but we could not compete against the money. And then the other thing that came out of that survey, which maybe Amos from IWLU can tell us, is security. Like you've already mentioned, young people are being killed, women are being killed. So the question is, do you want to put yourself in a situation where your security matters? And we need to discuss that. But a lot of what is happening here, and by the way, this was done between January and May. So it was before the protest in June. Now the protest in June has been the most significant movement since Kamukunji in 1990. And I was in high school in 1990. So the question is, Kamukunji led to a series of events that eventually brought multi-party rule into the country. Is the finance bill protest, is it a watershed moment for Kenya in which young people now, as you've rightly said, will participate, will continue to participate and have their voices heard, or is it a one-off event that will be forgotten?
Love the same faces in these fora. There's something you mentioned in the findings.
Yep.
That you noted there were same faces of the same people who are being called for these.
Oh yes. So again, one of the issues that we've discussed this today is that when people go for public participation, it's the same young people who go from one participation to another to pass. Right? So they said it's the same people every time you go. So what does that mean? Again, it's an economic factor. But if we want it to change, then, as he said, what will replace the 500 shillings for us?
Asante sana, Abdul, Nur Mohammed, and she's asking for the name of the report and where they can get it. Unaweza mpa mic, Kasmol?
The report is online. It's at civicvoice.org, civic-voice.org. But we can share it if you give us your email. It's a publicly available report, yeah.
Shukran sana. Now I'd like to give an opportunity for the last comments from our panel, and I'll start with Amos. He mentioned you there. And then I will go to Bevelyn. She's been quiet for a bit. And then Daktari, then Pasi, then Bwana Kasmuel, who has stepped away, and then Fanya Mambo Tamaliza. So, Amos?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think I'll first start by thanking Abdul. Abdul is a member of our board, and you can really see the kind of work that they are doing. And I really want to appreciate him also for creating such a forum on this other end. You're doing a good job because as we push from the Imulu side, and the work that you're doing, I feel we complement each other, and that is really good. We really want to appreciate you for that. Sure, the issue of security is a problem, and we as Imulu, we've been monitoring because our work is to end state-perpetrated torture. And we've been monitoring every kind of demonstration, starting from the elections, now the current one that happened that was led by the Gen Zs. And surely I think this was one of the turning moments for the country. Unfortunately, now there are those other things that we saw in the past, and we were promised that they are not going to happen again, happening. We saw a lot of, we were actually monitoring, we usually have what's called a situation room, whereby we monitor what is happening, we be able to follow online. We actually want to thank people like Mark Masai and all the other journalists because of the good work that they do, because we usually harvest some of the information from the work that you guys do. And I think everyone that was glued on television, you saw what happened around Parliament. That young gentleman that was really shot, it was really something, we suddenly all of us just found ourselves that everything changed. We left everything for a moment because it is really painful. This is someone that has come to speak for what they believe in. It is something that is protected in the Constitution, freedom of speech. And by the way, we really need to be watchful against what's happening, because you realize that nowadays things are being sneaked. And if we don't really, by the time we are realizing about the bill on the change of tenor, I think it was really at an advanced stage. And right now we are having what's called the Assemblies and Demonstration Bill of 2024. It is really something very bad, retrogressive, and it is something that should not see the light of the day in this country. I think we really need to take time to really focus on that and see what we can do. We really need to organize against that, Fanya Mambo, and we appreciate you for the work that you do. It's good that you're coming with the legal aspect of it, which is very important. So we really need to focus. Security or torture in this country has become a tool of governance in this country. It has become a tool of advancing whatever thing that the government really want to, because that's about scaring people. The reason they're shooting those people is because they want the other people that are seeing that to be scared, not to appear the next time there's a demonstration. But then again, we need to come to the point to realize as Kenyans that we are the people that are there for each other. There's nobody that is really standing for Wanjiku or for Wafula or for Nasieku in this country. We are left on our own. And the reason why I'm saying that is because even the reason why we are talking about this gentleman here, it's not that we don't like him or anything that but it's because the issue is the parties, because of the nature of politics in this country. You realize right now that you have elected your MP. He has gone there, you expect him to represent you, to stand for you, but he's coming there to tell you that I've taken this decision because of the party. But what really comes, he should really focus on the people that put him on that seat. So I think as Kenyans, we really need to, and the parties are not a problem in this country. I think I want to agree for once on that gentleman that said that we are the problem in this country. Because you see now, the reason why maybe this gentleman has run to ODM, he has a political ambition. And he knows that when he goes out there as an independent candidate, you people will not vote for him. And you, the moment you believe in what he say, you know that whatever he's saying is right. But the moment he stands against a member of that political party, you line and vote for that member of the political party. I think what happened in the last general election sometimes show that at least if Kenyans will become serious, we can be able to effect some change. I think this is the first time we are having the highest number of independents in the National Assembly. I think there are about 11 or 12. That was the highest, and we really need to get to a point whereby we liberate ourselves. These people are captured. They have captured us. They have captured the society. The reason why they will not talk of the social economic empowerment, they know that you cannot control. I think there was one coach that resigned, and he said that I think he was coaching people from a certain club, and these guys are now millionaires. And you cannot control a millionaire. So the reason they will not want to empower us economically, they know they cannot be able to influence us. So I think we really need to take this into our hand. This is something that as Kenyans, we really need to rise to the occasion, and it is really possible. We've seen what the young generation have done in this country. All of us now, I like the point she said that now let's change. It should not be now the Gen Z. We should not be looking for them, for Kasmel and maybe other people. Let this be the responsibility for everybody. I know someone said that actually the weakest link we have in this country is the middle class. That is the weakest link, because you realize now, you sit there, the people that we are saying down there that the government should take our salary and give us taxes, but when there is a call for people to come out and demonstrate and call out for government for what it is, we don't come out. So I think it should be a collective responsibility. Let's continue organizing for such things. We are raising awareness. I really agree with that gentleman. But then again, the Constitution is very clear that public participation, we have the County Government Act, we have the Public Management Act, Finance Management Act. It really gives us this, the way public participation should be done.
Yes.
If you talk of those people that are down in the village, they cannot read and write. One of the things that we should do when we are organizing for public participation is provide for mechanisms, provide for, and even go to an extent of ensuring that we work on anything that ensure that public participation will succeed, including translating those documents into a vernacular. What is difficult about that? Even if it's about using drawings or anything for the people to understand. So we really need to come to a point that as Kenyans, let's be resilient. I think I like the resilient aspect. Let's not tire. The leader told us that people can drop along the way, but we have to keep moving. Yeah, thank you.
Bevelin, it's your opportunity now to give us the comments that you had earlier in terms of your wrapping up session. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you for the time again. One, Kasmuel, I have a big platform on social media. I've never called you out for a reason. You have a right to join a political party. But just know anytime ODM way of joining the government is through bloodshed. Let's hope you will not get yourself into that. And just know that when they are issuing a statement, the letterhead will be ODM statement. Hautakuja kando useme this is Kasmuel's statement. So kutakuwa na hiyo. Secondly, mukitoka hapa kila mtu, please tell anyone mnapata kwa nyumba ama kwa njia to register as a voter. That's also a way of overcoming this generation. Mwenye ana ID, the fact that they are expiring, please get that ID. As we wait for them to fix the IEBC, get that ID. Another thing, if the church speaks on neutrality, bila kuegemea upande wowote, ingekuwa inakuja inasema government, you've killed people, that is wrong. But not siding with, tunaona church kama kitu mbaya because they side with a certain affiliation, political. So tunasema, kama ni SK wakiongea au ni watu wa government or not government. Ama SDA wongeangi, I'm not supporting them, but for some reason I don't know, awongeangi. So the other day when I was calling them out, I didn't know that they should not, and and also, if you have a social media platform, please use it to tell the people to do the right thing. Sai, if we called out the government and the people in government, when you remember the CBC came under Matiang'i, ile siku Matiang'i alikimbia kotini kuambia watu kwamba wao peke yao ndio baki the parties that are dealing with the CBC. Na hivyo ndio tuliletewa CBC that we are doing now. Today morning I woke up people saying Matiang'i and I called him out. Anyway, mumeona vile nimefanyiwa social media, but we move, nimezoea. Kitu ingine ni ati, mnajua Mshiri Mike, yule mama Michael, huyu mmoja tu. Mshiri Mike and other ladies during the finance bill, wali translate to local languages. Ungeenda tu kwenye mira unasomea watu finance bill na Kikisi. You can do it na lugha yote. So don't say that the language is going to be the barrier. Does it mean sahi vile I saw anaitwa nani? Sabina Chege na nyingine hapo ya kusema ndengwisi pando or something. It was something about agriculture. Sasa wamama wetu wenye wako ushago, wazazi wetu, that is, does it mean juu sisi tuko Nairobi kwenye hakuna shamba tukose kuwatranslatea wajue hiyo kitu ni mbaya, so that the day they are having that participation wajue wanaenda kuipinga. Also, let's not wait for the last minute is when we are saying hiyo ni nini, let's go for mandamano. Mandamano is also a way of fighting the government ama digital activism, but let's not wait until that day. Okay? Also, for the last thing mimi yenye ningewaambia, nawashukuru sana kwa kukuja hapa. Don't keep quiet. Don't let the government do all these things they are doing to us. And remember to tell your MP we are going to recall them when the IBC is good. Thank you.
Maranatha?
Waja.
So sema ni SDA. Basi koko pasi Devi, alafu daktari, alafu Kasmuel, alafu fanya mambo.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on this conversation. My only request to us is let's educate ourselves. I think we began a very good thing. Silently anza translate, as you're saying, Kina Mike, just translate, break it down for people. We are the most connected generation. We can take the Constitution, break it down to the person in the village, and they can be able to hear the Constitution or the issue, picking out the issue. And that's what gave success to the movement when we were demonstrating against the finance bill. Let it not stop. Civic education between here and the time the elections come, picketing, raising voices about those issues that are coming up before they get big. And some of us are in the legal fraternity, some of us are in politics. You know what's coming. And I'll conclude by saying this, and I think he raised it. We have one of the most advanced constitutions in the world, thanks to the 2010 work with Yashpal Guy. We need to just check our hearts. And I'm saying this because the young people who are coming up feel like we have a moral high ground over the older. Because of the beauty of innocence, you still don't know, or you're aware, but you've not seen the inner workings. I was speaking to the chair of, what is it called, this ACC, Anti-Corruption Commission, Bishop Oginde. We met in a conference. And he was basically owning up and saying, we were louder when we were outside. All right? Because once you get in there, you realize it's an animal that chews and spits you out. And you know him. Timothy Njoya, at least for him, he's been outspoken and he's been out there. Look at the guy who brought this bill for the report for Shakahola. What's his name? Mutava Musimi. Mutava Musimi went head-to-head with Moi. Head-to-head. Actually, arguably, he was the next president after Moi. You remember? He got into politics, became MP. He didn't speak for 2 terms, with all the English he had. All right? When he came out, he said, guys, there is outside here, and there is inside there. And we actually sat with Bishop Oginde and looked at several leaders. Muhammad Ali, Mombasa, Jishopevu. He took this government on a run, on issues and issues. He became MP. During the Gen Z, during the demonstrations, who was one of the guys who was told that I would be home? Why? KJ. And I can give you list after list. Brilliant minds. That's what I'm saying. It's not so much about you getting in there. It's about us changing a system that will chew any one of us. And we have to sit back and ask ourselves, what do we need to change? And that question, when we said we are leaderless, tribeless,
partyless, I don't think you understand the magnitude of what you are saying. And unfortunately, the older folk convinced us that it is good to have a leader, to have a party, to have a tribe. And now we are going there because this system will take you back exactly where it will not work again. And 20 years from now, we'll have the next generation of kids who are now Gen Alphas going on the street, you know, doing the same thing, and they'll be told the same thing again. You need to get a leader. There is nothing. I'm in a group where we are working together as leaders, Christian leaders, to put a Christian leader in power. And I laughed. I told them, guys, you know, do you realize that we are trying to put a Christian leader in power, and we have a Christian leader in power? So guys, listen. The problem is not the people. We've already prayed for a Christian leader. We've put one. It's not working. No, we prayed. Na tulisema sio uchawi ni mao. Sasa tuko hapa tuko maombi to deal with the problem that we are now facing. So we need to come back and say it is not the constitution, it is not the people what we put in power, it is a system that works to destroy anyone. And that is why for me when we stepped out and said no, let's deal with integrity, let's deal with the policies, let's deal with the integrity structures, so that anyone who is put there knows their checks and balances. So that when an MP says no, we are going to say what the party says. Next week, ameitwa home. Then we will be able to have a change. But as long as we have an impunity and a system that cannot be checked, cannot be questioned, cannot be interrogated, we will put even all of us can be in parliament 2027. By 2029, you will be recalled because the system still remains the same. So let's come back and ask ourselves critical questions. And I will say again, what we need is not more brilliant people. What we need in this country is good people, people with a good heart.
Asante sana. Daktari, as you respond, saizi habari za saa tatu zaendelea to the mainstream media, as you give also your closing remark, what you would desire of them in the name of assisting public participation?
Mitandao ya kijamii, and I think it's good I speak in Swahili because we've realized that one of the challenges we have in this country is where we speak in English and most of Kenyans don't speak English. And that's where the problem has always been. Those who go to vote are the ones who speak Swahili because some of them have not gone to the high level of education like some of us. Mitandao ya kijamii ina jukumu kubwa sana la kuweza kubadilisha hii nchi. Na tumeona wakati wa Gen Z, serikali ya leo yaogopa kwa sababu youth majenzi hawana haja kukutana mahali washikwe, mtandaoni tu. Hii habari tunazungumza sasa, mimi nakwambia nowadays what I always do nikitaka kupeleka information mahali, mimi ingia tu kwa Facebook yangu naweka kitu. Nitahakikisha kitu kile kwa Facebook, labda sangine hata nitaweka ile boost. Naweza fikiria watu 50,000 kwa siku moja peke yake. Nikiweka asubuhi, by jioni 50,000 people wamekipata. Nikiingia kwa TikTok yangu, natafuta wanafunzi wa university wale wangu ama wengine, na waambia nimeweka habari fulani, share. Unakuta Kenya mzima 100,000 people wamepata. Nitakupa mfano mmoja tu. Wakati tulipokwenda pale KICC kukiwa na hii mambo ya public participation, na ndio nazungumzia public participation sasa hizi. Public participation Kenya imefanywa ni kama upumbavu kufanywa watu wajinga. La kwanza, ilikuwa imewekwa vitu karibu 37 wale walikuja na sisi. Yaani page karibu 4 wasoma 1 2 3 37 things inawekwa kwa document moja. Kwanza mimi nilianza mwanzo, nimeenda kule Senate kwa ile hall yao. Walikuwa washabadilisha. Sasa nikawauliza kwa nini nimebadilisha bila kusema. Tukaanza fujo hapo. Sasa nikafuatwa ni baadhi ya maofisa na wanajua wanifuata. Nikifika KICC line ni ndefu, watu hawaingii. Nikairuka nikafika kule mbele. Nikauliza mbona watu wako mpaka nje na mmebadilisha venue nyinyi? Kwanza walikuwa haruhusu watu kuingia kwa gate ya nyuma kule KICC, wala walikuja. Ilikuwa ukienda kule waregeshwa gate ya huku kwingine karibu ya City Hall. Nikamwambia mbona mnatufanya kama wajinga na hii KICC ni yetu. Kulikuwa na bwana mmoja OCS pale. Akaambia unajua naweza kutia ndani, namwambia nitie ndani saa hii. Wewe OCS nitie ndani sahihi. Sasa watu wameanza, watu wale wamelipwa. Nikajua watu wamelipwa. Wewe acha fujo Sheikh, wajua umekuja sahihi, wewe ungekuwa mpole. Sisi tumekaa hapa half an hour, nikaambia nyinyi wajinga kukaa hapa half an hour. Hii ni public participation, haina haja ya vitambulisho na mambo mengi. Kwa hivyo jambo lilikuwa tuliingia sasa. Mimi nilipoleta ile fujo, sasa tuliingia. Sasa nikaona maaskari kadhaa wamenifuata, lakini hilo alikunitia wasiwasi kwa sababu napigania haki ya Mkenya, sikuwa na wasiwasi. Tulipoingia pale ndani, ile document ndefu, nikauliza tu, nikainua mkono. Nikauliza JLAC. Kwanza ilikuwa JLAC wamekaa pale juu. Okiya Mtata pia alikuwa yuko. Nikasema, tangu tuje tumekaa hapa sana. Tuna kiu na tumechelewa kuanza. Je, mnaona kwa nini mnakunywa maji nyinyi hapo juu? Sisi hatuna maji. Ilikuwa hatuna maji. Watu wanasikia kiu wanaenda nje. Ndio akasema, nikaambia, how can you state that nyinyi ni JLAC, justice, legal, human rights, constitution, na sisi tunakaa na kiu, nyinyi mnakunywa maji na mmeitwa public participation. Akasema hiyo tunaomba msamaha, maji yakaletwa. Kisha nikauliza hii document iko kwa lugha ya Kiswahili, nikaambiwa hapana. Nikasema kusema kweli hii mwatuchezea. Sababu nilikuwa nimekaa na vijana kadhaa wa Mombasa na nazungumza nao Kizungu. Wananiambia bwana wewe acha mambo mengi bwana. Sisi watu wa Mombasa hata Kizungu hatujui kamwe. Sasa nauliza mmekuja kufanyaje kama Kizungu hamjui na ndio kufanya Kizungu? Wallahi hawa watu watuchezea. Sasa I spoke on their behalf. Lakini cha kunishangaza, haki ya Mungu, nilishtuka siku hiyo. Hawa vijana wa Mombasa wa Coast, wengine wa Swahili waliposimama, walisema sikizeni bwana. Sisi tuunga hii miaka 7 kuongezwa. Kuna shida gani bwana? Moyo alikaa miaka 24 kulitokea shida gani? Kwani hawa kikaa tuwape muda bwana? When they said that, unajua I had already spoken, nilitaka kusimama, watu wa Senate wakaja wakaambia you can't speak again, wewe ngoja. Nikaomba nafasi nikaruhusiwa kufika pale. For those who remember, because it was on Citizen and other social media, nilimwambia chair of JLAC and all honorable members, I think when some people come here, we should always have psychiatrists to look at our brains. Kitu nilifanya, na ndio watu wengi wajua tulikuja tukamalizia maneno, hii public participation ilikuwa imepangwa ivurugwe. Hii kitu ilikuwa ipite yote in entirety. Ilikuwa wameiweka wale waligundua kwa gazeti, kwa hivyo wanazungumzia public participation. Wanaweka kwa gazeti tu vitu hawezi soma. Mligundua hiyo? Ungeweza kusoma, hata mimi singeweza kusoma. Ilibidi ifanye photocopy, ifanye kubwa ndio nisome. Waliweka vitu mingi pamoja, wakaiweka kwenye page pale chini, Senate na pesa, wakaificha. Alafu ikawekwa siku kwamba kuna mambo mengi. Ilikuwa ni kitu ishapangwa ipite in entirety. Lakini wale wanadharau viongozi wa dini, nataka kuambia hivi, tulitembea Kenya mzima. Mimi nilitembea 47 counties. Tukizungumzia viongozi wa dini wote wa Kiislamu, wa Kikristo na wengine. Tukiwa na ufungamano Muslim Protestant Africa, tukawaambia kanisani, ilikuwa ni hiyo time. Tukasema siku ya Ijumaa mashehe wote tuzungumzieni kupinga hii kitu. Jumamosi nyinyi SD hata kama mzungumzaji, leo zungumzeni. Nyinyi wa Catholic na zungumzeni. Hivyo ndivyo ilivyoanguka, kwa sababu tulipofika pale tuliangusha. Ilikuwa wajua wa Kenya wanakuwa na hisia kama kanisa tunavyosema. Wao ukitaka kuweza kanisa, angalia wakati wa constitution ya kitambo. Kwa nini Waislamu na Wakristo walipigana? Kwa sababu waliweka masuala ya kuondoa kadhi courts. Unajua politicians ni wajanja. Waliweka kadhi courts iondolewe, wakajua Waislamu wote watapigania kadhi courts iwekwe kwenye katiba, hawatazungumzia mambo mengine, and that's how it was. Lakini some of us were tulikuwa wadogo kama Kasmuel, lakini si tujulikana kusimama msimamo. Unajua Kasmuel nitakusaidia. Wewe ukitaka kusaidika, sikiza hao vijana wanakuambia nini. Usijipae bane sana pale huko, sababu hao ndio watakuchagua. So what I did, niliambia religious leaders, sisi Waislamu tusiangalie tu katiba ya constitution hii mambo ya kadhi courts peke yake, tuangalie katiba kwa ujumla. Na ndio maana ulikuta wakati huo tunashukuru Mungu iliangushwa wakati ilikuwa faa kuangushwa. Ndio nasema anguka nayo. Tulianguka nayo na ndio tukapata mageuzi leo tuko nao leo. Kwa hivyo ninalosema, tulipofika pale tulipinga hiyo katiba yote, hiyo mageuzi yote. Lakini shida huwa ni moja. Wewe unaleta public participation. Alafu kama ni parliament inaleta public participation, wale staff wao bado ndio wanaenda kucount vile watu wamesema, kuanalyze. Kuna ukweli hapo? Hakuna, sababu hawezi enda against wale. Ikiwa ni katika county government, kwa nini katika county government public participation inafaulu sana? Kwa sababu MC anajua mnamjua. Akileta ujinga mweza mpiga makofi pale mtaani, MP utampata wapi? Kwa hivyo kitu tunaomba, public participation sheria ibadilishwe, iwe kila kukiwa na public participation mahali. Number 1, isiwahi fanywa hivyo wanafanyaga mambo ya kesho kutwa. Kama hii mambo impeachment ya Gachagua, ilikuwa ni mambo ya kuamka na kumalizika. Ilikuwa shaamua. Na hawa ni watu wanakuaga wanaendaga mpaka mbele, wanajua tukishinda hapa kotini pia majaji tutawahonga, washahongwa kitambo. Hata wanajulikana nani atakuja kuhukumu hii kesi. Kwa hivyo public participation kutoka leo ikifanyika, kwanza lazima hizo documents ziwekwe kwa Kiswahili. At least Kiswahili. Zingine vernacular tutaweza fanya. Ya kwanza. Ya pili, kusio na public participation yote isipokuwa ipatiwe mwezi mzima. Wakenya wapate kujadili. Jambo la tatu, kwa kuwa na public participation, serikali jifanyia analysis yake, alafu pia wale watu wa Senate ama Parliament wafanye, na kupatikane independent committee itaguliwe. Kila public participation ikifanywa kupatikane independent kama sisi, tuitwe watu 10. Tuende katika hiyo hall, zikihesabiwa kura, tujue nani. Unajua tuliwezaje kufaulu kuangusha hiyo kitu? Wale walikuwa kumbuka. Tulikuwa huko KICC. Mimi ilikuwa iruhusiwi, walikuwa wamesema hakuna kuuliza watu. What I did, nilikuja ngauliza, Wakenya wangapi wanataka hawa viongozi wakae miaka 7? Hakuna alioinua mkono isipokuwa vijana 3. Na walikuwa wamepewa pesa mheshimiwa, hata wakipigiwa simu nilikuwa nasikia. Walikuwa wanapigiwa simu mheshimiwa anaambia jamani mmemobilize. Lakini niliposimama nikauliza wangapi wanapinga miaka 7? Wakasema sote. Nilifuatwa ni ule watu wa Senate wakaniambia unajua Sheikh, hapa yuruhusiwi wako mambo hayo. Nikamwambia hapana, tumemaliza hiyo kitu. Kama hatungefanya hivyo siku hiyo, hii kitu ingekuwa sahihi ilipita, kwa sababu ingekuwa imefungiwa macho, mkutanage kotini. Kwa hivyo mimi nina nasaha yangu nikimalizia. Wakenya ambao kwamba hawajui, unafaa kujua viongozi tuliowachagua wa serikali, kutoka president, kuja senator, kuja women rep, kuja huyu mheshimiwa wa parliament, mbunge, kuja MCA, hao ni wafanyikazi wetu na wako. Wewe Mkenya ambaye hujui, wafaa ujue hata president ni mfanyikazi wako. Kwa hivyo wewe kumuuliza president kwa nini wafanya kitu fulani, hafai kukasirika. Ile airport si yake. Eti amuite Adani Muhindi, apewe kila mpeote mfukoni amuuzie. Ile ni mali yangu mimi na wewe, ni ardhi ya serikali. Kwa hivyo president alifaa kutuuliza sisi, je, muonaje tumpe Adani ama tuka hivyo? Wacha tukae na airport vile iko, kama Wakenya hawamtaki Adani. Kwa hivyo Wakenya mafahamu ujue, kutoka president kuja mpaka chini si ndio tumewaalika. La pili, kwa viongozi wa dini, tuache kupewa pesa. Mimi ni kiongozi wa dini, najua mambo yaliyofanyika. Election ikaribia, sisi upewa pesa. Baadhi yetu, mimi sijai kula pesa ya campaign, lakini wengi upewa pesa. Wakipewa pesa, wanakuja kanisani, unasikia mtu anazungumza sasa, Mungu amesema. Mungu amesema wapi? Wadanganya watu kwa nini? Wacheni ujinga. Hii mambo ya Mungu amesema kanisani kupoteza watu tuacheni. Tusimamieni haki pale iko, na tukijua viongozi wa kanisa waliopewa pesa ni wanasiasa, tuwawache kabisa. Jambo la tatu ni kwa Wakenya. Wakenya tuacheni kuwa wajinga. Tuacheni kusahau. Mimi najua Wakenya, kitu tutafaa kufanya ikifika 2027 ikiwezekana. Wale wabunge wote ambao tushaweka kwa list, wajua walipiga kitu yote yes ambao tunajua, wote waende nyumbani. Na hata ikiwezekana hata wengine ambao kwa kupiga wengine wasafishwe, ile bunge isafishwe wote. Tujaze hawa vijana bunge. Sasa tuangalie watafanyaje. Kwa hivyo hilo jambo linafaa kufanyika. Jambo lingine ni kubadilisha katiba. Rais asiwe ati atakuwa anafuta deputy. Kwa sababu rais akiwa ataweza kufuta deputy, ni maana huyu deputy atakuwaga ni kama mwanamke bibi nyumbani, ukiambiwa kitu lazima unyamaze. Wewe unalifanya ule mwenzako na wewe yes. Kwa hivyo tubadilishe katiba, iwe tukiingia kwenye uchaguzi tunachagua president kama yeye na deputy kama yeye. Na ikiwa katiba itabadilika, iwe akienda mmoja wanaanguka pamoja. Asanteni sana.
Asante Sheikh, lakini kuna mmoja hapo hajakubaliana na hiyo analogy ya mwanamke ile kutulia tu na kusikiza. Lakini jamani
naibu yake anavyotaka yeye. Naibu awe na uhuru wake. Tumeona madeputy governor wengi pia nao wamekuwa yes sir, ukiibiwa amenyamaza. Kwa hivyo katiba ibadilishwe, governor achaguliwe peke yake independently na governor achaguliwe peke yake. Ikiwa si hivyo, iwipitishwe katika katiba kwa kuwa akitolewa governor anaenda deputy wake. Akitolewa deputy wote wameenda. Kwa hivyo tukifanya hivyo tutaweza saidia nchi, na vile vile Wakenya tuwe wenye kuzungumza, tusiogope, na kufa ni siku ngapi? Moja.
Siku moja. Asante. Kasmuel, alafu sasa Fanya. You've been given advice, you've heard the feedback. What do you say, what's your commitment to those who feel that you were a sellout for whatever cause they felt you stood for or expected you to stand for as you move forward to 2027? And in the name of public participation, what you'd like to move forward from the masses?
If you think I'm a sellout, you're lazy. Yeah, I have no apologies. If you think I'm a sellout, you're exactly what bedevils this country. And shame on you. Like, in equal measure, like double shame on you. With the amount of shame you think I should have, you should have twice the amount. I say this because Kenyans want to delegate courage. You want to outsource it. That's why, if I tell you today, for example, if I had not joined the Youth League, and we have a very clear example, if I ask you for 100 shillings for fuel to go and do public participation in Kilifi, you'll give it to me. Kweli Rongo? Yes. But if I tell you, let's all go to Kilifi, you know, I'm busy, you know, I'm studying, I have work, I have all these kinds of things. You called me a sellout, and nobody ever gives me the metrics. Nobody says that you once said this, and you have done contrary. I've always been very clear. I'm in this to take political power. And people take that 25-second clip so that they can go and misinterpret me. So I want you to misinterpret this further. The political vehicle that I have identified to take political power, and I will say it, and I will still keep urging you to come and join Chama Kubwa, ODM, so that you come and change it. If not, identify a political vehicle so that I answer to this thing which we've been saying. How can we be so ideologically grounded? We have everything but political power to implement the ideology we want. We talk about tribalism. Can you bring a Luo man to your mother's house? Yes. As long as your mother still tells you, "Usijaribu kuniletea mjaluo hapa," what are you telling me about tribalism? As long as your father, your backward father is telling you, "Usilete msichana mkikuyu hapa kwa sababu wakikuyu wanaua mabwana zao," what are you telling me about tribalism? It's still very alive. And you propagate it. You propagate it in the jokes you make on social media. You tell us not to date Murima babes. You tell us not to date this, and that. We have the manosphere and whatnot. And we keep on talking about this thing. But we still are very tribal. Change it. You have to change it because in 2022, uli vote 6 piece. As a Luo, kwenyu si mulikuwa mnapiga 6 piece. Unapiga kwanzia MCA mpaka huko juu. Nadanganya. Watu wenye walipigia hii serikali ambayo iko katika mamlaka sasa hivi, si mulipiga tu hivyo to punish this, eh? Yes, mulikuwa unapiga yellow yote. You didn't care. Now you want to tell us that women cannot lead because we voted in the worst crop of governors possible. But then, as we proceed, I'd want to remind you that if we truly are leaderless, what is this burden? What is this thing that you had given me? Because a lot of you rise up and you tell me very confidently that you had your hopes in me. When I tried saying, and I will say this again, yangu ni gani? Gani ndio nikiangalia. We will never have a 25th moment until we see our women on this front line that we keep on talking about. The only thing, remember, right now we think we are very special about this protest. Did we not have this same exact protest last year? Did 70 people not die? When Raila Odinga and his people, I was playing, I'm a musician, I was playing at the restaurant they retreated to. I saw the vehicle with 11 bullets. That was last year. What were they protesting? Anyone has an idea? Finance Bill 2023. So now sisi tumeingia kwa struggle, tumepiga shughuli 2 months. You know. Suddenly we are very special. Then when I say this, I remember saying it on my social media, and then some people were saying, "Oh, where?" I remember even part of how I was being dissed. No, where we stick to mental health issues and feminism. We will never have it as long as the women are not fighting for this microphone. It's never going to happen. The difference that our maandamano made It is the first protest in our generation that had more women than men at some point on the street. That was our only, it was not our age, it was not at ECG, our women were marching with us. Now, we've gone back to, they talk about femicide, and this I'll be told I'm pandering. When they talk about femicide, we say, oh no, those are your other issues, and think about that. So before you even open your mouth to call me, first of all, I've accepted the tag, if that's what it is to you, but there is a constituency that I represent. And to the young people who still believe in me, the political vehicle that I have identified, I want us to imbue it. I want us to fill it up so bad that we are the ones who will be making the decisions. If the vehicle I have chosen does not augur well with you, form one, join one that needs with your ideology. In terms of participating with the public, we have to be better invested. We have to be more interested in the good for this country. It cannot be that we want to chant Ruto must go in this enclosed room. You want to shout Ruto must go in a club. I even saw the other day, we said we will occupy Uhuru Park, then we want to go into a church and chant Ruto must go. We have to be better. I have donated my body on the streets. And you people, it's even so funny. You know, you don't know me nobody even knows what I stand for. I mean, I'm known because people saw me jumping and running into nation media. What do you think that was? That was the state. You saw the state try to kill this person. And that's why I'm like, I don't rate you guys. You guys don't care. I'm just another pawn. And you know, for the left, is what he's saying aligned with us, then fine. That's why you will pick Matiang'i before giving me a chance. Yes, you're willing to sympathize with Rigathi Gachagua. I've seen it. People are canceling me because I said he should go. So we have to be equally interested in the redemption of our country as we are in paying it lip service. And as young people, we will need to create a vibrant space for dissenting voices. Because this, you know, this democracy that we're fighting for, the bitter truth about it is it will have to work for our oppressors. That free healthcare that we're trying to achieve, the free education, by the time we're taking them to court, because once we take political power, what we're going to do is reparations. We'll fix this country. Jail whoever needs to be jailed, recover public assets that were stolen, but even then, they will still need to exist in a democracy. As unpopular as these things might sound, we don't need good people. We don't need good men. We need working systems. This camera, brother, do you need to be a good man to operate that camera? Does the on button change because you're SDA or you're a Muslim? We need to know that if you're corrupt, this is what happens to you, whether or not you're a good person. I don't know what this obsession we have as Kenyans with good people. It shouldn't be the thing. We need proper working systems. Kenya has no shortage of good men and women. Your mother that you keep on praising on Mother's Day sounds like a good woman to me. Your present father sounds like a good man to me. But every time we say, oh, we get into this thing and then it changes people. You also have to be equally interested in that change. And for me, I have seen that a party that's looking for democracy, that's looking for pro-people things, I have identified it's this one. This crucifixion that you want to subject me to benefits you in no way, benefits me in no way. It does not advance your cause in any way. And for us to take this power, because I've sat with the progressive forces, I've sat with the leftist organizations. Heck, I was the speaker for the National Coordination Committee of People's Assemblies. All the leftist organizations were bungled together and we used to meet at Senator Omtata's office. This same Omtata that you're praising online, I remember before we went to Bomas, I asked the people, who do you think is going to be president in 2027? Everyone said, kulingana na vile vitu zinaenda, naona Ruto atachukua. We've had close to 100 meetings in this man's office. And I remember that night I said, we are a bunch of hypocrites. Because we keep on saying we want change, we've seen an honest man, but we are not willing to elect that honest man. We are not we are interested, Ata Mimi, by the way, I'll tell you this. You might wager whatever kind of war you want, but you'll tell me the system has changed. But you know, if I want to take political power, first of all, what I could do, I could wait 2027 out. Then I get married, I parade my children on social media, and then I do law. If I study the law, I can do public litigation cases and simp for the community and help them. But you're not willing to elect a Mama Mboga. You're not willing to elect a guy like me who does not have any direct benefit for you. Yes, that's why you will look at me and you wonder, this guy, this Jama, you're not seeing the thing. There's nothing I can give you until we find our alternative to the 500 shilling note, until we can out-organize, out-mobilize this oppressive political class, until we can be interested in actually driving the change that we seek. Because you look at me and you contextualize me in your context. So I've seen people talking about, I started driving kitambo sana. I've not, in my head, I feel like I've achieved everything I need in life. I'm a very simple guy. I just want to wear vintage suits. I want to drive old cars.
Simple.
I really don't even care for, like my dream car is like a 2008 Mercedes-Benz. That thing goes for shit. You don't need to be successful to buy a 2008 Benz with those two much round. It's what, 500, 600,000. And if we cannot, so hakuna kitu utaniambia ati now these are trappings of power, but you look at me and you contextualize me in your material conditions, and we believe that now he's doing this for the money. Before we are able to convince someone you're not doing it for the money, and this thing, it becomes a lot of noise. I'm urging you, and you go home. It's an appeal, and I'll keep on making this appeal.
All right.
Let's get our IDs. Let's register as voters. Let's organize ourselves into a political vehicle that actually wants the best for Kenya. Whistleblowing is not activism, is not change. Anyone can whistleblow. See, all of us here know what's wrong with our government. How does that translate into better MPs? And again, like I've always said, a revolution is not a popularity contest. Me, I'm not here to be likable. I'm not here to be CG whatever. If I offer myself, first of all, I might even realize that by 2027, when I started the year, I didn't know I would end up here. If by the end of this year, I realize that my impact will be best felt in the arts, Bana, you will never hear about me. I'll go back to the arts and then I'll start this cycle.
Okay.
Find your little corner and transform it.
All right, but you did just say that you're quite popular now. People want to take pictures with you.
Yeah, kwanza kuna zingine hamjaona. You guys mona 2 photos. The photos which if they surface online, they will be nini. And again, now that you provoked it, you're frontliners. There's a reason why none of them talk smack. It's because by day, they are saying abolish capitalism. By night, they're dining with the capitalists. Ngoja tu imaliza kidogo tu, because this needs to be said.
Toboa.
Tukika hivi, anyone I was with in the front lines who dares to talk, I tell them, but you have a company that received funding when we were during maandamano. My account balance has not changed. Ndio maana hata nikiitwa summons, even when Miguna was talking pale online, he said, oh, I asked him, what did you do? He said, oh, I sent you some pocket money. Miguna sent me 15,000 shillings in a money order, and I knew he would pull some BS like that, so I never claimed it. So he cannot go and say that I took his money. So that integrity which you speak of, niko nayo. These moves that I'm making, your frontliners wamekuwa with these political parties, they've been affiliated, but they're not interested in the change. That's why I'm saying, if you're rooted for 10 years in ideology, you should be in parliament. We should have figured out, if you're 30 years, brother, mtu anauza mandazi anakuja anakupita hapa, tuko na ideology. Mtu anaibaiba hapa, tunatolerate wezi. We are rooted in ideology. We have to be interested in changing this country and also be forthright. Be forthright. And this actually has been a wake-up call for me. I would love to do more of these things. So mkiziona mkuje mniulize maswali, because there's an unpacking which I feel Kenyan youth need to do.
Tafakari ya Kasmwe. Tafakari hayo. From a man who loves vintage suits and running for office to one who loves sweaters. Leo sijui umeacha wapi.
I had 4 in the car. I didn't know which one to choose, but I always have a sweater on me.
Last word.
Yes. Nice one, Sefu. Nice one, Sefu. Thank you so much. I'll be the last speaker, so I'll be very brief. Number 1, let us not throw our bodies at this administration anymore. I have told people, these guys are prepared for your body. They have tear gas for your nose. They have the baton for your legs. They have bullets for your brains. They have everything. The only thing Kenya Kwanza is not prepared for is your brains. Throw your brains at this administration, you'll confuse them. I saw a guy, I don't know who he is, wherever he is, God bless you. Ametengeneza tu memes to a black, Twinkie. Wherever you are, you understood the assignment. God bless you. Because the Kenya Kwanza administration was not prepared for that kind of a fight. And it's painful. It's really irritable. But it's working. There are times when crocodiles go into hibernation, when it's cold, because they're cold-blooded. It's not always that all of us must be on the streets at the same time. There comes a time when you hibernate. But when you're hibernating doesn't mean you're not fighting. What you are doing, there's a time I saw people sending 1 million emails to some institution, and it got confused, and it started calling this government and telling them, your young people are sending us 1 million emails. I beseech every young person, this is the time to throw our brains at Kenya Kwanza administration. They have bought enough tear gas, frustrate them, watch it expire. They have bought bullets, frustrate them, let them not use them. We don't need to go to this. And I'm not saying we don't go right, but I'm saying at this point in time, if you throw your brains at them, they're not prepared for that. They'll have to go and sit back and ask themselves, what do we do with people who have thrown their brains at us? Hiyo sasa watauliza engineer, na hapo unajua kuna shortage ya vitu zingine. Second thing, there was low voter turnout. Yeah, it's true. I mean, somebody without an admission number. Nyimoi kwa na admission number ya shule. There are people who don't understand what an admission number is. And they are squarely making decisions for this country. There was low voter turnout. We are about to constitute IEBC. I pray in the name of God, let us not elect another 60-something-year-old Chebukati to be chairman of IEBC. We cannot in 2024 be, the Kenyan election of 2022 was the most expensive election in the whole world. We spent more money on our election per voter than the United States. We spent 2,000 shillings per voter. Because first there was that stupid thing of identifying whether it is you. Identifying whether it's you. We should have been identifying whether you have a brain and the capacity to vote. Because tunaangalia tunasema, do they meet the threshold of someone who thinks fast before we give them a vote? So if you ask me, let us have young and young-minded people running IEBC. If today you wanted to transfer a car logbook, okay, we all have an e-citizen account by now, and we all have a KRA PIN. Your ID number cannot be assigned more than one KRA PIN, and it cannot be assigned more than one e-citizen account. What makes us think that your ID number can vote twice? We should be voting from the comfort of home, and I'm telling you those Gen Zs will vote. These are the same fools who are telling you, wewe unajifanya popular, wezi jaza stadium. I agree. Fanya mambo akiita watu hata jaza stadium. But I have news for you. If I do one TikTok, it will have 250,000 views. Hizo ni kasarani sita. I feel 6,000 kasaranis every morning when tomorrow niko hot 96. Kuna vitu nitasema huko zita trend. I've just been sent one from Uganda and another one from Canada and another one from US. My work has gone there. And not only is it 250,000 views, it's been shared like 7,000 times, 10,000 times, 25,000 times. What is it telling you? And what? 67,000 people have taken their time to comment. They are saying, unasimama wapi, ready to vote. So let nobody come and tell you because you cannot physically move people to Kamukunji. The people of 2024 don't need to move to Kamukunji. Their hearts have moved to where you want them to be. Their hearts are where you want them to be. That's all we care about right now. So don't come and give me nonsense. Oh, wezi mobilize, wezi jaza. Na mobilize ni akina nani hao wajinga wanataka kwenda kunywa vumbi Kamukunji sai? All they want is to align their minds with what you are saying, and they will follow you and they will vote for you. So breaking news for you, yes, sometimes my videos have 500,000 views. They have 35,000 shares. They have 67,000 comments. I feel that Kasarani 10 times more. Kuna mtu anasema juu ya protest hii country. Na anakuja na kabil. Jeffrey Rocco, at some point when I was in Catholic University, I think he was finishing. And what we need to do right now, I think we need memes. And I'm calling on all young people. We need memes. I will not advocate for violence, but we need to talk to him in many ways. We need to send him messages. We need memes. We need to make him know that his bill is unpopular and it's not going to serve this country. You cannot tell us that we shall be congregating somewhere. You choose for us how we are going to picket. We have told you we shall throw our brains at you, and you're not prepared for those brains. And the people in this country are brilliant. They're extremely brilliant. So let us love this nation to the point of saying that we are going to do good things. I live here knowing 6 asubuhi tena niko kwa station ingine, and you know how many I have done today. I was told it's noise on TV. I spoke about bursaries. I saw the Kiambu senator pick it up. I saw the speaker pick it up. I saw them say we spend 105 billion on bursaries per year. Yet, free primary education is 27 billion per year. So what we spend on bursaries can educate our children for 5 years. I spoke one time and they were saying, oh, Ati, you know, I woke up and told, is it normal for us to employ a city hopper driver and then pay the wife? They said no. Then I asked them, why is it normal for us to employ a president and then pay the wife? I said, if we have to pay the president's wife, we must pay the city hopper's driver. I mean, the city hopper driver's wife. So if we employ you as a school headmaster, we must pay the wife to the school headmaster. Otherwise, if it is not working for the school headmaster, let it not work for the wife of the president. Ilianguka haikuanguka. So let people not tell you that you are noisemakers on TV. Let people not tell you that you are wasting time on doing some of these things. I have told you here when I started that when we put ourselves as 5 people in a room and said tutaangusha finance bill, we look stupid. Juu hatakuwa na pesa. People thought tutafanya, you know, referendum, if you remember 205, let me take you back, and I'm finishing. Akina Raila walizunguka hii Kenya mzima wakiambia watu nini, we are going to angusha, this kulikuwa na machungwa na mandizi, and all sorts of nonsense. Now here we are. We are in 2024. We did not go around this country. We did not sit on the roofs of vehicles. We did not have public address systems. But guess what? We brought down finance bill. Because people internalized it, took it, put it on their TikTok, put it on their Facebook, put it on their Instagram, put it everywhere. They told their mothers, they told their grandfathers, and it worked. So 2027 will be the same. You may not see us as young people feeling steadier. You may not see us as young people coming with noise in your estates. But guess what? At midnight, there's someone connecting with a video of mine and saying, I'm waking up tomorrow morning and I'm going to vote for this one. I'll be offering myself in 2027. So guide us, God. But I have always promised Kenyans, I will be true to you. Hata kama hiyo parliament ikona, I don't know why the speaker seat has to have snakes and not eagles, but just snakes all the time. Maybe that's why people misbehave when they get there. But I will be true to you. I have been true to you now when I have nothing and I'm being offered a lot. I have been true to you now when I have nothing and I'm being threatened every other night, every other morning, every other day. And I've been true to you now when with my nothingness, I offer everything I have and spend everything I have to do all those media shows in a week. You can imagine how much I spend on fuel, and I tell you. And so with or without anyone's support, we will do what we have to do. But let us transform this nation and let us be seen to be transforming it and willing to do it. Sio kujifanya tu na sio kujisemesha tu. Let us put, I'm telling you, si kesi nimefile kotini. Na nikipata zingine nitafile, naenda kwa wakili sasa deni imekuwa mingi sana hapa, naenda kwa huyu. I'm not saying I'm a person who doesn't pay debts, but I'm saying Kenya Kwanza is making so many mistakes that we have to keep taking them to court continuously, and it cannot wait until you have money. God bless Kenya.
Asante sana. Makofi kwake Fanya Mambo and the rest of my panel. Thank you, Bevelin. Thank you, Fanya Mambo. Thank you, Pasi. Thank you to Kasmuel. Thank you to Amos, and asante sana, Daktari Sheha. Ni Kasamuel, just say it as we go. Ni sema tu ni ile, for the record, ile itakuwa kwa ballot. Umebatizwa mara kadhaa hapa. Sema tu, jina.
The quick matomboy. Titomboka. It's Casmuel Makoure. But it just depends whether you went to primary or primary.
Watia hapo. Sasa tukimalizia, asanteni sana. We had asked a question, a poll, and we asked, have you ever attended public participation? It's now 96 votes. and 55% have not participated in one such fora, and 45% have. And the other question that we had, did you vote in the last election? And with the 26 votes that came in for that poll, yes, 69%, and no, 30%. Hiyo hesabu imeenda wapi? Yes, okay. Kuna wale sasa they sat it out. Kuna wale they sat it out. So I'd like to thank you all. I thank my audience for being very patient. We're still full house in terms of the numbers and those who came in and have participated. I needed to give time to all of you to fungua roho. There's been many comments online as well. I'd like to thank you for that, and we'll be reading them as we continue because the conversation continues online. And we've heard what you've said. We've actually addressed all the thematic areas. And one of them was about mainstream and how we'd want them to do things different in the name of public participation. It's been admitted by you. It's been admitted by you and many others. In terms of their popularity, and actually the word going out there more has been on social media. So that should be a message to mainstream media and how they go about this. Asanteni sana. I'd like us to end with the words of, umesema, let's fight them with the brains. There's a young man who wants to fight them with bars. And it's a heavyweight, and atatupa laini tukitoka, tumpe makofi, and you can fade it out tukisema asanteni sana nyote for the time.
Thank you so much, Mark, for putting this together. It's a privilege. So one thing before I put my piece out is I believe we sharpen our contradictions from a point of perspective. Unacheki, so hata kama mimi natoka Dando na ule msee amesema kitu na contradict too, but tuna sharpen. It doesn't mean that I have to personally fight this person. Hii revolution yetu si ile ya maumau, tunashika bunduki, yetu ni logic. Sawa. So uongozi ni accountability. Leadership ni service, si position. But hawana account. But hawako in a position to account. Sijaona service uongo. Tume huru ya uchaguzi na mipaka eti walivuka mipaka wakati wa uchaguzi, nusura watumwe cheki. Mauaji ya kiholela holela. Unabebwa hobela. Mhariri, mahiri, mashahiri kamili. The king is naked. Vitu zinazidi kuget messy kwa ground. Hii situation hawezi compare na exit ya Messi Barcelona. Hatari sana, sikosi kumention. Hii ni deadly, hawezi compare hata na virus ya corona. Wauguzi bado wanagoma. Siwezi afford hata mahindi choma. Nimechoka na kuwa patient. The only place where tunawachwa ni on a coma. Vitongoji hazina maendeleo. Viongozi wana kipendeleo. Unabaguliwa kwa misingi ya kikabila, dini, maumbile au cheo, ukoloni mambo leo. Wapi stadiums kuna talents, mlitu promise laptops na kuna classes, wapi teachers, wapi nurses. Kilio cha haki, wapi justice for the masses. The king is naked. So before I drop the mic down, tafadhali kwa wase wenye wako online, ingia YouTube saa angalia KGZ Heavyweight. Kuna ngoma nimeangusha leo 4 PM inaitwa The King is Naked. Sawa, so big up Kasmuel manze. One more time, nimejua boy manze kani msanii. So ni mnoma ni kupiga ma keyboard. So taka pia mimi utani hate juu nimesema ni mnoma kupiga keyboard. Uko tu sawa yani. Because you wanna vitu different. Unacheki? One thing we have to understand, Mark Masaya akisema anaona kitu ni different. Understand perspective ya msanii gani. Labda ni short-sighted. Ama yana anaona kitu ni black or anaona ni white. It doesn't need to be personal. So growing up in Dandora 2 years ago, I used to volunteer with an organization called Maono. As a poet, as a community leader, and as a trained paralegal. So ule jamaa ameka pale by a show of hands. Manze bus mama. Anaitwa Kenneth Owile. Boys Joe Mark aligona kambez ananipatia ndai yake, man. That is so priceless yani. Na ananiambia ujavaa poa. Vaa poa, kuna meeting pale, enda unirepresent. Tuta take minutes. Unacheki venye msa alikuwa ananiona 2 years ago. Aniuliza bro, this is how you fund something online. Thank you sana my brother, don't take it for granted. So in same regards, Kasmuel, sikia hiyo Kasamueli manze, ukiwa hapa mimi nataka kuambia, showing up here physically my brother means You don't shy off. So you are an open-minded person, as I know you. Sawa sawa. So keep showing off, sikiza watu tu venye unakuanga. Hii maandamano ingekuwa hungekuwa, so unanielewa? Manze, so it doesn't change anything about you as a person. So hata mimi nikisema manze mimi ni mnoma, I'm the undisputed champion. The weight has been so heavy, but I'm still the undisputed heavyweight. The floor has been on heat, sun. So even if I go back at home tonight, I got the heat undisputedly. If you doubt, you can ask the sun. Thank you so much.
I think we can wrap it up at that point. Thank you so much. Have yourselves a good night, and thank you all for participating. Asante sana.